boy.
What's up? What's going on?
A 40-foot inflatable rubber ducky.
Yeah, I
That's
saw
what's
that.
up.
Look at the ducks.
Announcing their presence with authority.
Taking over.
They are taking over.
I'm not gonna lie. If you don't know what we're talking about, in the river outside of the Big Ten Media Day there in Indianapolis, Oregon deployed, I don't know, what appears to be a 40-foot high rubber ducky. I mean, it was bigger than the bridge.
Yeah,
That's got to be custom, right? You can't just buy one of those.
No, I don't think you can go to Walmart and pick up a 3-story,
How do you decide on the scale for something like that, though?
Well, I'm guessing you measure the bridge and you kind of go from there and figure it out. I don't know. That thing was huge, though.
yeah. It's Big Ten Media Days.
And it's pissed off everyone in Big Ten country.
Day one. Well, look, raises the question, doesn't it?
And the question being what?
Are the Ducks ruffling too many feathers? Are they walking in a little cocky here?
I kind of enjoy it. Like, if you're walking through the front door, kick that son of a bitch open.
Yeah, make a statement. Why not?
Don't tiptoe around. Like, you're coming in as like the number 3 team in the country.
We're not here to go 7-5 and
Exactly.
punt the ball away like you guys.
Yeah, go Todd Graham. Like, this is not about Iowa punts here. This is not about going 7-9 BS.
So
show
you
up
had,
and win championships.
Lanning said, I think this was a while ago, but he said the league needs to adjust to them, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And now you have an inflatable duck troll, and you're already in the kitchen of all the coaches because of NIL.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I like it.
I don't know that I like it. I think you need to.
Rob you want to go a little calmer?
I think you need to walk into the Big Ten a little more humble. You haven't done anything. You didn't even do anything in the Pac-12.
So is putting a big duck on the river showing a lack of humility? Or is it just having some fun?
I
don't know.
I just have never seen a.
I think it's great. People are talking about Oregon. That's the whole point.
That is the whole point.
That I would like to ask Dan Lanning, and I don't know if he has the answer to this, but where do you make a giant Oregon duck? Because it wasn't just if you told me there was a giant inflatable rubber ducky, I was like, okay, you could go on the dark web. I mean, you can order human beings and grenades on the dark web. I'm sure you can find a 40-foot inflatable ducky. But to find one that's the actual Oregon duck, who do you call to create that?
Well, I think so. Isn't there something? There's like a charity event where maybe it's like a children's hospital. They do these events where they're like these rubber ducks all floating down the river, and there's thousands of them, and there are some big ones like that. I wonder if you go to a company that does that and you say, hey, can you just change the colors to be ours? And that's how you go.
But that's one thing to have one duck floating. Look at that thing. Dude, that thing towers over that bridge. I may be underselling the 40-foot duck. That may be like a 70-foot duck. I don't know. But it's a big-ass duck.
Maybe it's from Uncle Phil's pool.
Dude.
You think he has a giant pool?
If Uncle Phil has a pool that has that duck in it, that's the best thing. Like, of all the things you could be impressed about at Uncle Phil's house, having that duck, that would be number one. I'd be like,
go blow some ducks?
If you see my car collection? Nah, I'm more interested in the inflatable duck.
Masters Pete is in. He's a big duck guy. He said he would have put 5 of them out there.
Of course he would.
That's duck fan for you.
He'd also fire Dana Altman, though. So
that's right.
Masters Pete, his opinion is no longer valid.
God dang, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I just think you kind of want to fly under the radar. I mean, you're now you're already the Colorado of the Big Ten.
Ooh, look at you firing some shots.
Well, you are. I mean,
there's a lot more substance there than Colorado.
Well, yes, there's more substance, but you haven't won anything, and everyone's rooting for your demise. They want to kick your ass now.
And
because of the duck?
Well, because of Lanning said you have to adjust to us, not the other way around. Now you got a duck. You got all this NIL. The NIL coffer is overfloweth, and everybody's pissed off about it.
I think you might be right about all this except for the duck part. I don't think you're really ticking anybody off with that.
Well, you weren't you the one that said that the whole Big Ten, or was it you just a minute ago? You said the whole Big Ten is pissed off about it?
Yeah, they seem to be a little. I don't know about the coaches, but a lot of the Big Ten, because I've been trying to follow Big Ten Media Day, which, by the way, it's been a bit of a struggle for Swag.
I know.
He's
having a rough day.
I feel bad.
It's over.
Yeah, no one wants to.
We think.
No one wants to deal with Swag. He's the he's the awkward kid. He's new in school, and
here's the thing:
it's not working.
If you're used to our Media Day shows from Pac-12 Media Day, I can tell you definitively the Pac-12 had its S together, and I'm not kidding. They did a great job on Media Day, whereas, I mean, like you and I did a 4-hour show, and every segment would have a guest.
Yes.
Good guest, coaches, players, commissioner.
Anyone we wanted to get, we got.
And they were on time, and everything worked great. From what I understand, the Big Ten is not like that at all. You would think they would have their stuff together, but they don't.
This is apparently the polar opposite.
Yeah,
I guess it's like a free for all. You can
it's a
show up,
free-for-all,
anybody you
right.
can grab, great, but they're not slotting interviews for everybody.
And so Swigard is doing his best to go around and yank some guys over to his table and then put the headset on them so that Dusty and Danny and Dirt and Sprague and them can interview them, but they're just refusing to come over. They're too busy, and so it's kind of a mess.
And because they don't have I think maybe it's the idea that no one is there. He's saying, "Hey, come over here and you'll be on the air," and people are like, "Yeah, no, it's not working."
Well, he said all of radio is really struggling.
Yeah.
Because you have the TV, you have the print media, and you have the radio, and
the radio right now is the bastard redheaded stepchild. They're the Maryland of the Big Ten, and no one wants to play
an Odyssey
their
station.
Terrible Terrapin uniform. So,
or perhaps they're being frozen out. Swigard's being frozen out because we are associated with the giant inflatable Oregon
Everyone
Duck.
hates the Duck, and by virtue, they hate Swigard
now,
as well.
is Swag wearing Oregon gear?
I wouldn't think so.
I hope not.
Well, if it's free, he's wearing it. I still contend that even if he comes back and he's very unhappy about the way Big Ten media went, he still will come back.
Oh, for sure.
With a S-ton of Big Ten swag, because the over-under, we're setting it is, what happens? The number of times Swag tells us about the Big Ten Media Day, a.k.a. complaining, versus the number of free items that he brings back. And right now, I'm leaning towards more free items. He's coming back with a ton of those things.
I think he's already mailed it in. He's already at the hotel bar.
Vancouver Ford text line saying that he has already got free beef jerky. So there's the come up.
There you go.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So there were only 6 schools there today. There will be 6 tomorrow, and then the Ducks and Huskies among the 6 on Thursday.
Yeah.
Hopefully he will have a better 2 days.
Yeah, we hope so.
Because Dirt and Sprague got Yogi Roth this morning.
Yeah. The great Yogi Roth of former Pac-12 fame, who's now is Yogi Roth now Big Ten legend Yogi Roth?
I don't know.
He was Mr. Pac-12. Is he now Mr. Big Ten?
A little too polished for me, Yogi Roth.
He is very polished.
Did you see the other Mr. Pac-12 got a new gig? The Yammer?
Yeah, the
Back
Yammer.
with the CW doing Beavs, Cougs, Cal, and Stanford?
Yeah.
With Tom Brenneman?
Maybe. Maybe he'll work with Tom.
Wouldn't that be something? The Yammer and Thom together?
What was I saying? What were we talking about?
The who Swag got certain people for certain shows.
Oh yeah, Yogi Roth was on the morning show, and then the only person from Big Ten Media Day that made our airwaves in the middays with Danny and Dusty was some Wisconsin offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So rough day for Swigard.
Rough day.
Hopefully he rebounds tomorrow.
Hold on, everybody.
Sometimes, you see this in major championships. You don't come out, you don't play your best round. The question is, did Swag play himself out of contention? Because I don't think he did.
Well,
because
he better switch up his tactics.
Yes.
Because obviously it didn't work.
This didn't work.
So I don't know what he does differently.
Maybe he rubs elbows at the bar tonight.
Yeah, you come back, you regroup, retool. Maybe
some bribes.
Yes.
Buy some SIDs, a few drinks, and off you go.
Maybe just tell people you're with Wisconsin. Maybe I'm with the Buck on this one. Maybe the Duck thing. Maybe that's ruffling feathers when he tells them, "Hey, we're with the Ducks," and people are like, "Oh, you're the sons of bitches that they released the giant inflatable duck."
They already hate Oregon.
I'm also a little surprised. Like, here's the thing: maybe Big Ten country is different, but where's SEC Media Day? Where is that?
Where was that? Dallas, maybe?
Is it Dallas?
I think it was Dallas.
Oh, it was Dallas this
Yeah.
year. That's right, because Texas in the.
I'm
SEC
just saying, if you pulled this, if you sent the 40-foot duck down a river in the South during SEC Media Day,
deflated with a bullet almost immediately.
100%.
that duck's dead.
Yes.
It's not even
that is true.
It's not even a question.
It's a who could do it fastest.
Yeah. It would just be a fight between the only argument would be which group took credit for it, because Alabama would be like, dude, we shot it first, and then Texas would come in and be like, we shot it better.
Oh, Harvey Updike would be all over this thing.
100%.
Nice pull.
I like it.
Harvey Updike. By the way, he's the old goofball that poisoned the trees at
Toomer's
Auburn.
Corner.
Yeah.
Because he's an Alabama fan.
Well, he's an Auburn guy. Or yeah,
Roll
he was
Tide.
yeah, Alabama and
He
poisoned
was an
Auburn.
Alabama
Yeah.
fan, and he poisoned the trees at Auburn.
because.
And by the way, look him up. He looks exactly
Yeah.
like you would think he looked.
You think that inflatable duck is making its way down some Birmingham waterway?
He named his kids like Bear and Crimson.
Yeah, I don't think so. So quite frankly, this is why I'm all about sending the inflatable duck, because it turns out those cowards in the Midwest don't even have the balls to take on an inflatable duck. I'm looking right at you, Ohio State fan. You're supposed to be the king of the castle here. Michigan, by the way, has won the conference the last couple years and won the national title, and you don't have the gumption to take out the inflatable duck? I'm a little disappointed in what the Big Ten is bringing to the table. That SEC crap, that wouldn't fly in the SEC. Means more down there.
Well, look, if you're Oregon, it's easy to be cocky right now, but this reporter says cool it. Just calm down, okay?
I just woke up to that and just started chuckling and was
Same.
like,
Just put a smile on your face.
it's like, gee, only Oregon. It is so uniquely them.
Yeah, nobody really does anything like that, do they?
No.
Anywhere else?
No, it is unique. What they have done out there in that little tiny corner in the upper left is it's fun, and I kind of enjoy that a bunch of the Midwest media members are claiming that it's classless and they're all.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're just saying it's kind of they're a little pissy about it.
Like, give me some example. Do we have?
I'll pull it up on.
yeah.
I just saw some stuff on
Who
Twitter.
and who do we hate now? Because
I'll
they.
pull it up. Just
New rivals. Let's go.
Yeah,
New
who's our new
rivals.
media rival
Where
in the
the
Big
hell's-
Ten?
Hold on, my mouse. I just saw people doing kind of what you were saying, like you're new to the conference, like
Yeah,
really,
shut up.
like it's just the childish and
Yeah,
win something first.
there you go.
Again,
Probably a good idea. But
well, that's true. When has that ever stopped Oregon before?
never has.
No.
Which is why they rub people the wrong way sometimes.
Yes, and I think the duck probably falls in line with that. But again, I'm all for it. You can't.
I don't sign off on it.
There's a difference between being respectful.
Of course, they didn't
and
consult me.
and being passive.
Yeah, someone in the YouTube chat says it just motivates teams to play better against the Ducks next year. Like that stuff that's where I'm drawing the line. It's like you think they're gonna be in their locker room before the game, be like, and remember when they put that inflatable down the river? We got to kick their asses. Like that's not how that's going.
We're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins.
That honestly, that's the most ironic statement of all time.
Because all the Ducks do is fight for clicks,
no one fights for clicks harder,
and they're
than-
really good at it.
Yes, they are. The only difference is like they win too. Colorado fights for clicks; they just suck, and that's the thing that makes like back in the day. I get people being upset at Oregon because they used to do a lot of this crap and they weren't very good. At least now they're good. Washington may disagree. They win a lot of games. You just got to win the important ones. Somewhere Husky fan is 100% doing the and they may be more upset than anyone else, like because no one's talking about UW and everyone's talking about Oregon, and UW will keep screaming, beat us first. And again, it's a fair point because UW's got them 3 years in a row.
All right. Well, look, the most important thing to know is that it's Paul Skeens Day.
Yes.
Forget the Big Ten.
Hey, the Pirates they're in the wild card race.
Yeah,
They're right there.
they're over 500 now.
Yeah.
My Bucks.
Subway Series for your Mets, Sook.
Yeah. Look, I'm just happy that we got a split against the Marlins. You don't want to come out of the All-Star break and then
The Mets and Yankees are playing?
yeah, they
Yeah.
had a 4-gamer with does it start today or tomorrow?
I think it's today.
Yeah, because they had a 4-gamer coming out with the Marlins, and it didn't go so well, but we salvaged the split, and now we got the big one against the Bombers.
Here's a guy who says he's from. Okay, so this is the Vancouver Ford text line.
Mhm.
I'm from Wisconsin, and literally every radio host, and they all take callers, is everything you guys hate. Literally everything. I promise you. Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's about right.
I mean, a lot of sports radio is like that,
Yes.
and it's really nauseating.
Yeah.
But
Well,
at least we're not.
sports guy is he's something else, like hardcore sports guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really is.
Yeah.
All right, well, good thing we're not that. No
No.
Big Ten interviews for us.
No,
we
we're
will talk
not.
some Big Ten football today, though.
It's the Big Ten.
Some interesting topics of conversation. But
I love that quote.
let's start with the poll question. It does pertain to Big Ten football, and we'll get to that next here on The Fan. You want some poll?
Yeah, give me some poll.
Thanks to our 1080 The Fan listeners for making the 10th annual
Jason Swigard takes the L. Hopefully he bounces back with a good showing tomorrow. He says he's going to try to hit some fairways and greens tomorrow.
So you got to do.
Go back to basics.
Yeah, go back to the basics. Play fair. Play in the fairway. Maybe put the driver away for a bit.
I will say though, just so you bros know, the herd will not be on tomorrow. It's going to be Dirt and Sprague from 6 to 10, and then Dusty and Danny from 10 to 3.
Is it great that they?
So hopefully they'll get a bunch of interviews.
We blew out Colin and then didn't get anyone on.
Well, no, they didn't today.
Oh, just tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow and
Well,
Thursday.
Fingers crossed.
All right, here's our poll question today. Daily poll question is on X at 1080 The Fan. Before I get to that, I'll tell you about yesterday's. Yesterday we asked you, which athlete has the most must-see TV vibe in sports right now? Caitlin Clark wins, 39%.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani, 37%. Victor Wembanyama, 19%. And Carlos Alcaraz, 5%.
Caitlin Clark is white.
That's a great drop. I read a little article today about Caitlin Clark is clearly driving everything in the WNBA. Without it, it's marginal growth. But it's not just the eyeballs; it's the kind of eyeballs. She's changing the demographic of the league.
My eyes are very important to me.
So, are they getting Henry Winkler to watch?
I would assume so.
With his important eyes.
Well, his father-in-law has important eyes. Yeah, she's driving not just more viewers, but different viewers than have ever watched the WNBA before.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, she just has been.
Good for her.
She's been a force. The last time I remember this, like Tiger Woods, Lance Armstrong, they got different people that had ever watched golf, or did anyone ever watch cycling? They got different people to tune in, and that's when you know you've really done something. And I think Ohtani did this last year in baseball. Like I mentioned, my kids and my gal, they don't watch baseball on any sort of regular basis. They like going to a game occasionally, and they all cared about Ohtani. He was the guy that can bring in the fridge fans. And this is the thing about sports that no one likes to admit, but the diehards aren't what drives sports. The diehards are always there. It's when you can rope in the fringe guy or gal or kid or whatever. It's when you get those people, that's when you break records. That's when you fill stadiums. That's when you get millions of people that are watching.
And then if you impress, then the bandwagon people become regular part of your base fans,
Yes.
but you have to capitalize on those moments.
Yes.
So you think that the Clark momentum wanes?
I think it
Or
it does
it
a little bit.
Does it buoy the WNBA?
Did you already say the All-Star game numbers that it got?
No.
What did they
3.44 million.
That's tasty.
It's really
Wow.
good.
That is
really good.
That's like NBA All-Star game numbers.
It might be.
I mean, that's a big number. I hope it doesn't. I mentioned this when the Clark stuff started happening, last year at the NCAAs. I just wondered if this isn't like the Gretzky hockey bubble. When Gretzky got to LA, it was like for the first time people were paying attention to hockey. And it was like, we got to grow and we got to get as big as possible now. And they started putting teams in the South and in Phoenix and
The Mighty Ducks. We made movies. We made teams.
It just didn't last. And I'm intrigued by this. I saw ESPN, I guess, is really, really close to having a daily show on TV about women's basketball.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, in theory,
Well, they got a bunch of crap on ESPN. That can't hurt.
well, and now we're running Odyssey. I hear the ads for. We have a daily women's basketball podcast. I think Cheryl Swoops and someone else are doing it, and I don't know. I don't know if this growth is a moment or if it really is something that is sustainable. But we'll find out. My only thing that scares me is it appears that when you look at numbers, it really is a Caitlin Clark thing. When she's not involved, the numbers aren't great. They're not. It's still growth, but it is not anything where you'd be like, "Holy crap! Look at this giant leap forward."
Well,
and so I just don't know if it translates or if people get tired of this story. I don't know.
Well, I think that you just mentioned something that's really good. If you're a fan of women's basketball, the ratings drive more coverage.
Yes.
And more coverage drives more viewers.
Yes.
So if you just right there, the fact that ESPN is starting its own women's basketball show, that right there will mean more viewers.
You would
The
think.
more coverage, and I've noticed, I mean, I watch SportsCenter from time to time just to, catch up on all the main stories. And
Speaking of, the duck is on SportsCenter right now, the inflatable one.
Yeah.
and
It's the big news of the day.
they're covering the WNBA a lot.
Yes.
On there.
Yes.
And that's good. That's what you want. So so Caitlin Clark, maybe the TV ratings wane, maybe attendance wanes, but as long as the coverage continues to ramp up and they cover it more, you're going to get more fans.
I just don't know
over time.
Yeah, over time. I just don't know if this growth that we're seeing, I don't know if it's permanent or not. So, and the only way to will be,
I think if you cover it,
you think it's sustainable.
I think it's sustainable, and that's what I mean. So, if the ratings, if Caitlin Clark comes into the league and the ratings spike, but then you don't capitalize on the ratings by giving people more coverage of the sport or access, then it's all for naught. It'll eventually fizzle.
Yeah.
But if you, like you just said, if they start, if this means more coverage and better access and you just see it more, it's going to become like people will follow. And so I think that's the best sign right there is not, well, the best sign is Caitlin Clark, but then after that, it's that she is creating more coverage on main sources of sports news. Yeah. Like ESPN. That's huge. Yep. That's huge.
And then you hope as people tune into Caitlin Clark, then you see, Sabrina and you see, Casey Plume and you some of the other players in the league, Wilson, who's the one, a couple MVPs out of
Asia Wilson
out of Vegas and
Kelsey Plum.
Yeah. And, hopefully that is, or yeah, did I say Casey?
Yeah.
Sorry. Hopefully like, you tune in for one, you see the other, and then the appreciation for them grows, and now you're not just tuning into Caitlin Clark, and that's the only thing that I don't know. I don't know if the people that are tuning in for Caitlin Clark are becoming fans of other people, because that, along with what you said, the more coverage, that's what will drive sustainable fans.
Yeah, well,
is that when you tune in for one thing and you end up liking another, and then they're talking about expansion, and this is what I'm saying about hockey. Like they're talking about expanding teams and putting them in other markets, and the NHL, they took a calculated risk and it kind of backfired on them, and it didn't necessarily work. So this is a tricky process that they're in right now. It's like when you see college, stadiums or whatever, and like, how do we expand? We were talking about Oregon's AD years and years ago about this, is do you expand Autzen Stadium? And he was like, man, you got to be careful. Like all of a sudden, you think you're having a moment and you put 20,000 more seats in, and now you can't fill them.
You're packing it at 60,000, but then you go 4 and 8. Are you packing it at 76,000 if you add 16,000 seats?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden there's no demand for it anymore. And
then
so
you don't have the atmosphere, and you don't have an advantage.
And companies have this all the time. Like when you're having success as a company, how fast do you expand? And so I just think that the WNBA right now is having a moment, and hopefully they capitalize on it, but it's not just as easy as everyone will always watch this and this is the trajectory that it's going to be on and you're going to keep having this growth. You have to be smart about it.
Today's poll question on X at 1080 The Fan: which team is best poised to surprise and compete for the Big Ten title in 2024? Is it Iowa?
Go ahead and climb out of my ass for a while.
Punts.
Is it USC? Is it Nebraska? Or is it Wisconsin? Vote hard.
Gosh, that's a bit of a toughie. I mean, I don't know where I want to go with that.
Why not?
I don't know.
What's the matter with you? Aren't you a sports guy?
I am a sports guy. I'm pulling up the question here. I want to see the people one more time. It's not Iowa. I mean,
why not? Iowa's ranked the highest of preseason of all of those.
And I know they got a new offensive coordinator. When's the last time Iowa was good at offense? And the same thing you can say about USC.
Yeah, but Iowa's always good.
USC is usually pretty good too.
See, USC is interesting, but I would say, because I think everybody's pooping on USC right now.
I'm taking USC.
But USC's got a lot of talent.
And that's where I'm going.
And a hell of a coach. But I want to read you their schedule.
Bad.
Dude, it's rough.
Yeah.
They play LSU, Utah State. Those two games, let's see, the LSU game is neutral. I'm not sure where they're playing that. Utah State's at home. Then they're at Michigan, host Wisconsin, at Minnesota, and host Penn State. Those are their first 6 games.
Ouch.
At Maryland versus Rutgers, at Washington, versus Nebraska, at UCLA, and then they play Notre Dame. Like, it's one of the top 10 toughest schedules in the country.
Yeah, especially early on too.
Yeah, those
Like,
first
that's-
6 are rough. They could
that's
be
rough.
2-4.
Well, and you're breaking in. You got a new defensive scheme. You're breaking in a new quarterback. Like, I wanted to go with SC just from a talent standpoint, but that kind of scares me. And Miller Moss, who was their quarterback, looked good at the end of the year in the bowl game when Caleb didn't play. But that schedule is a bit rough. I just don't have any faith. I don't have faith in Nebraska. I certainly don't have faith in Iowa's offense, although, we do have a new offensive coordinator. I'd say Nebraska USC and Wisconsin, maybe flip a coin. And I'm going to lean towards USC just from a talent standpoint, because from a talent standpoint, USC is head and shoulders better than those other teams.
Nebraska, looking at their schedule, they could be 7-0 going into a game at Ohio State.
Really?
On October 26th. Yeah, they play UTEP, Colorado, Northern Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, and Indiana. And only 2 of those are on the road.
Really?
Crazy. Yeah.
Boy, that is soft as
and Matt Rule.
baby dew.
Matt Rule's a good coach.
Yeah.
And they've got a 5-star. Now he's a freshman, but they've got a 5-star
kid.
5-star quarterback coming in, and that's they haven't had that in a while.
No.
So, they're interesting. And then Wisconsin's sitting there. They're always good, Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's just solid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a tough one because the top 4 in the pack or in the Big Ten are Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State.
And I don't think anyone's cracking that. One of those 4 teams is going to win.
Well, that's what I think most people think that. That's why I asked. That's why I left them off and said, hey, if there is a team to compete for the Big Ten that will surprise, these would probably be the next 4. Maybe Washington, but I doubt Washington this year.
I think Washington, honestly, is trying to get to 8 wins. I think if you're Washington, you got to 8 wins, and you built some good momentum with Jed Fish, and he didn't leave for the Florida job, I think you would take it.
But there's going to be a team in there vying for that title towards the end of the season. That's not one of those top 4. There is.
Yeah, but I don't know if I mean, there may be one vying for it, but if you look back at the history of the Big Ten, dude, Michigan and Ohio State, I think, have won 8 in a row in that conference.
Well, that's why I said, yeah, because what ends up happening is the team from that weaker division gets into the title game and gets smoked.
Yes.
That it's like the same every year.
Yeah.
So they never win the actual league, but that's why I said compete for the Big Ten title.
Yeah, compete. Then it's USC, or I'm going to still say it's USC. But I'm looking through, like, if you look at the Big Ten, and I don't know, you could probably do this with most conferences, but, like, this is the Big Ten champions. Michigan, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State. There's Penn State, who, by the way, remember, that was the year that Penn State won the Big Ten, and Ohio State still went to the playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, and Penn State beat Ohio State, but they had 2 losses and Ohio State had 1. So, yeah, congratulations, you won the Big Ten. Ohio State still went. So that's kind of a weird one. That should be Ohio State. And then Michigan State, that's the outlier.
Ooh.
Ohio State, Michigan State again. By the way, that run that they had, that's an underrated run that they had there at Michigan State there with D'Antonio. And then you had Wisconsin win 3 in a row. So it's, and that goes back,
what years did Wisconsin win 3 in a row?
Wisconsin won 2012, 2011, and 2010.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was Bielema.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that was one of those was the Russell Wilson where they lost to Oregon in the Rose Bowl.
Great game.
Yep. So, I mean, it's just the Big Ten.
I get it.
The Big Ten is, and then by the way, if you go back after that, it's just back to Ohio State and Michigan. I mean, it is.
You don't get a lot of surprise winners.
No,
but
you don't.
You will have some teams that jump up and are better and kind of in the mix towards the end of the season, which is the nature of the question. Yeah. There are a couple of other surprise options, which we'll get to next. And is Oregon ready for the Big Ten? We'll get to that as well. But first, Buckwheat Sports Center.
This
I wanted to do some looking just to wrap up the WNBA thing. So every game that Caitlin Clark has played in this year has averaged over 1 million viewers. And no WNBA game since 2008 had averaged 1 million. So she's had 15 games that have averaged over 1 million viewers. It looks on here, according to this, and this may have changed over the last week or two since I saw this, but so far there's been 2 games without her that have averaged 1 million. And just to give you an example, and by the way, that's a great number if you get anywhere near 1 million. But like CBS had a double header a couple weeks ago, and it got 676,000 and 460,000 for non-Caitlin Clark. So those are still really good numbers for the WNBA, and we've seen a bump across the board. But what we haven't seen yet is this massive jump in non-Caitlin Clark games yet. But her numbers are staggering when she plays. I mean, the game she played against Angel Reese got 2.3 million average viewers. Largest regular season game in WNBA history.
Do you think Iowa should put her on the football field?
Yes. Dude,
Get some ratings.
Dude, if you are...
She could probably help their offense.
If you are in sports nowadays, just get a cardboard cutout of Caitlin Clark and throw it up there because people are tuning into that gal.
If you don't have her back as an honorary captain one of these
you're a
games this
fool.
fall, that's foolish.
Absolutely.
You should have a whole Caitlin Clark night, themed night.
I wonder if she could punt.
Does Oregon play Iowa? I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
See, that's the thing about this whole 18-team league with no divisions.
Yeah.
I mean, you miss half the league.
Yeah. I mean,
that's super lame because, like, I mean, for example, I was looking at Rutgers' schedule.
They do not get Iowa this year.
Yeah, they don't play. So I was looking at Rutgers. We were talking about surprise teams in the Big Ten.
Shiana's a good coach, and they were
yes,
all right.
they
last
won
year.
10 games last year. I think 9 or 10.
I think maybe 10 with the bowl game.
There's a team. So, okay, again, it's one thing to say that a team like Rutgers is going to win the Big Ten. It's another, more realistic, to say, hey, they're going to be right there near the top towards the end.
Yeah.
And the reason is Rutgers misses. Okay, so we mentioned the preseason Big Ten poll had Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Penn State 3, and Michigan 4, I think, was what it was.
Sure, makes sense.
Do you know that? And then Iowa was 5. Those are the top 5 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that Rutgers misses all 5?
Really?
They don't play Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, Penn State, or Iowa.
That's fun.
I mean, it's stupid.
That is a little silly.
It's dumb.
Well, a lot of it does come down to schedule. Schedule makes a big difference.
Well, look, we talk about this every year, but Dave Bartu did this years ago. He's like, look, the only thing that matters in college football, or the main things that matter in college football, are who the coach is, and now he's extrapolated that out to staff, how much talent you have, and where the game's played. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all the Matrix is founded on. And it's true. You look at Rutgers, I mean, my God,
they won
dude.
7 games last year, by the way.
Oh, they only won 7?
Yeah. I knew they had a good year. They won 7. They had a rough stretch there where they lost 1, 2, 3. They lost 4 in a row down at the end. But they didn't win their bowl game against Miami in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Their toughest game this year is at USC. That's it.
Huh?
Yeah, and they play at Nebraska.
Yeah,
I mean,
so there could be a team that's a surprise team that could win 9 games and you don't think much about, but then we still won't know if they're any good or not, which is, I've always said, is the most maddening thing about college football. And you brought it up with Nebraska earlier. Nebraska could be 7-0, right? Going into Ohio State, or was it 6-0?
7.
7-0. And at that point, if you're 7-0 and you're in the Big Ten, Nebraska's going to be a top 10 team. And we're going to sit there and be like, oh my God. And then you can go out and get boat raced by Ohio State. And then we have to go back and answer the question, were they any good to begin with? Or were they just playing a bunch of bad teams? And that's the maddening part about college football. And you were hoping that with kind of these bigger conferences and better non-conference that maybe we'd solve some of that problem. But no, it's the end of the day, you can still get a long way by beating mediocre teams or bad teams. But I guess in a larger sense, that's not that much different than the NFL. We talk about this all the time. How many times in the NFL do you see a team that, is 7-2, and then you look through and you're like, dude, they have one quality win on that schedule? And yes, the NFL has way more parity, but this is true in the NFL. that you can beat up on a bunch of bottom dwellers. You can beat up on the New York Giants and the Commanders of the world, and all of a sudden you have to go on the road and play KC, and then they bitch slap you, and you're like, well, that's you found out you're good, you're better than the bad to average teams, but you sure as hell ain't a contender.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, it just kind of is what it is. It's just
It's a problem in college football.
It is a problem because when you look at USC and what they have to go through, and then look at what Rutgers has to go through,
yes,
it's like, man, you'd think they could even it out a little better than that.
Yeah, because Rutgers could be sitting there at like 6-1, and USC could be
2-4.
Yeah, 2-4. Let's even
but
say,
it's all schedule.
Yeah, or let's say even USC is like 4-3, and you're like, oh, Rutgers is better than USC, and you're like, no, they're not, because if USC had Rutgers' schedule, they'd be 7-0 too.
But I guess the main point here is that I don't know how many Big Ten teams can make the playoff, but
Playoffs?
a team like Rutgers or Nebraska, I mean, depending on schedule, you can maybe sneak into the playoff.
Yeah.
As opposed to, because I mean, we probably think Oregon, Ohio State probably going to be in there. Maybe Penn State. Maybe Michigan. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's SEC. We were talking about this last week with SEC Media Day. There's like 11 of their 16 teams are ranked.
Yeah.
Preseason.
Yeah.
So they could have a ton of spots in that tournament. While the Big Ten is a little different in that, I don't know. I don't know how many they're going to take. I know it's the other big league, but I don't know. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird. I think it's cool to have Oregon and Washington and USC and UCLA in the Big Ten. It's going to be cool to see those games and have them play different stadiums that they don't normally play in. But it's also, it's just odd. The whole damn thing's odd.
Yep, and it will be interesting to see a couple years into this how the playoff thing shakes out. Because maybe it doesn't.
Because it's really just about getting into the playoff.
Get into the playoff.
So Rutgers doesn't have to win the Big Ten. They just have to navigate their schedule well enough to get into that tournament.
And so does scheduling still come into play where you're, especially with better conferences, you really don't have an incentive to play any. Like we always thought that for the big boys, there's more incentive to play big teams because it's not as punitive when you lose. But, for a Rutgers, dude, it may behoove you to play as many bad teams as humanly possible to try to finesse your way in. And we can all think it's going to go one way, but 2 or 3 years into this, I guarantee there's going to be some surprises that we look at and be like, hey, that's not the playoff isn't shaping up the way we thought.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is the Big Ten still plays 9 conference games, and the SEC only plays 8.
Yep. And
dumb.
Yeah, we'll see if the SEC does anything, about not scheduling, the
why would they?
Citadels of the world. It doesn't behoove you. It doesn't.
Yeah, they're not going to change anything.
I wouldn't. That's what David Shaw used to be all critical of him. And the SEC would be like, yeah, well, we don't have to.
Why not just copycat them? I never understood
exactly.
that. Yeah. If it gives them such an advantage, just do the same thing.
Yes.
It was always some sort of pride thing, and I never understood that either.
Because the Big Ten, didn't the Big Ten come out and say we won't even play FBS teams?
I think there was something along those lines. And I don't know if that's been implemented right now, but
cool
yeah,
rule, dude.
There was some talk of that they didn't want to play those games anymore.
All right. More Big Ten talk is coming up, but next, juicy new sports documentaries are coming out. We'll tell you what when we return. It's 3:45 on The Fan.
The Ducks are on a roll.
They have hammer recruiters, and they have a lot of flash and sizzle.
Big Ten Media Days brought to you in part by Legends Casino. Fun is how we roll. We'll get back to some hot Big Ten talk. I got hot Big Ten talk coming up.
I love it.
I want to talk about Oregon.
They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins.
All the titles they're going to win.
Not one, not two, not three.
Well, they've already thrown the inflatable duck out there. I mean,
what more do you want?
What's next?
Yeah. Well, I don't know where
championships are next.
I would assume so, right?
Well, that's what they think.
Well, I mean, they are picked to finish second behind Ohio State, and that game is in Autzen Stadium, and they could see Ohio State 3 times this year, right? Because they got rid of division, so could be Oregon, Ohio State at Autzen.
You could see them regular season, you could see them championship game, and you could see them playoff.
You can see them in the playoff.
Wow.
You're going to get at least big. I'll bet you get this year in the playoff. You're going to get 4 SEC teams and 3 Big Ten teams guaranteed.
Only 4 SEC?
Well, that's what I'm saying, guaranteed.
Oh.
Because that's 7 of the 12 right there.
7 of the 12 locked.
And you have to give a couple other automatics,
You got to
right?
give one to the Big 12. You got to give one to the ACC. So that's 8, 9.
Got to imagine Notre Dame is maybe part of that as well.
Notre Dame's there's 10. You do a throwaway if someone qualifies for the group of 5.
That's
so
11.
There's 11, and so you end up with 5 SEC teams.
What about the Pac-2?
I don't think so. So you end up with 5 SEC teams, or you end up with 4 SEC teams and 4 Big Ten. But I feel like that's how it's going to shake out. So, I mean, I can't imagine a scenario where you don't get 3 Big Ten teams in between Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, unless the conference just eats itself up. But I mean, as you've seen from schedules, some of those teams don't even play each other.
We've got some juicy new sports documentaries coming. I don't know if you like that Untold series on Netflix, but they're the ones that did the Johnny Manziel one.
Yeah.
They did Swamp Kings about Florida.
I didn't like that one because it was just Florida talking about how great Florida was and ignoring, I don't know, the murders.
That was all Manziel's.
I thought Manziel's was a little too sugar-coated. There have been some really good docs that came out, but I thought they treated him maybe a little too nicely.
Well, I think we talked about this at the time, but the thing about these docs are good because even though they're one-sided, you're getting access to the real story from that point of view, and there is value in that.
Yes.
But if you take the Johnny Manziel doc as gospel as to how everything went down, you're insane. Yeah, that's absurd. Like, Johnny Manziel was a mess. Yeah. And he admit, I mean, to his credit, he does admit some of that, but
when he
it's
says
all through his eyes.
And when he says he tried to take his own life, but the gun jammed and they just keep right on going without following up on it, you're like, wait, hold on a second.
You're right, in that you just have to accept the fact that anytime you watch one of these now, you are watching a very, very slanted point of view, because most of the time now these sports documentaries are being made by the person who is the subject of it.
Or they only agree to do it.
Yeah.
Like, Untold and Netflix is impartial, but Johnny Manziel is not going to sit down with him if it's not if they don't put in there what he wants them to put in there.
Yeah.
In his point of view. And again, there's value in his point of view. It's interesting to hear him talk. At the same time, we do need to discern that the old days of sports documentaries being full and comprehensive, impartial look at a situation, they don't exist. It's not that way anymore. It's to get access, you get one-sided, or in the case of Jerry Jones, he just makes his own.
Yeah.
Most of these sports people make their own documentaries now, and they can be interesting, but you just have to understand where they're coming from.
I have a documentary coming about my life, and let me tell you, my life is fantastic. It's just really is going to blow your mind. Weird Al did that. Did you ever see the Weird Al biopic?
No.
Of course, in vintage Weird Al style, he made a biopic about himself, but he made his life the greatest life of all time. So like Madonna is falling all over him, and in high school he goes to the accordion players are the cool kids in high school. He makes fun of these biopics for being over the top and one-sided towards the band, and he really leans into it.
So it was a bit?
He was doing a bit. Yeah. Daniel Radcliffe plays young Weird Al, and Weird Al sneaks off in high school to go to underground accordion parties because that's what all the cool kids are doing.
Vancouver Ford text line pointing out the Manti Te'o one was really good.
Yes.
That was the third one. That Untold
That was
did.
excellent.
Yes, the Manti Te'o one was really good because it was It was biting. It was raw.
And they had the person who was doing the catfishing.
Yes. And it was also, that one was the story of how that all went down.
Yes, that may be and it's off the top of my head. I can't think of another sports documentary that I've watched in recent memory where I was like, holy hell.
Yeah.
And I ended up feeling bad for Manti Te'o.
Yes.
Like, I went in thinking that dude was a doofus.
I think a lot of us did.
And I walked away being like, dude, I just want to give that guy a hug. That emotional thing in the end where he's breaking down crying and saying that, you know, he doesn't care if he gets made fun of, if he helps one other person. I wanted to give that dude a hug and tell him that's
like
a great guy.
Made me view him in a totally different light.
Seems like a good dude, that Manti Te'o.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about that Lene Kukua, though.
Boy,
now Ronaya Tuiasosopo.
That bitch.
Yeah, that dirty bitch.
You freaking bitch.
Yeah, he won't say it, but we can.
So the Netflix series is called,
Resourceful little bitch.
It's called Untold. There are 3 new ones coming. The first one will be August 20th, and it is entitled The Murder of Air McNair.
Oh.
Which I can't wait for because
I don't know that much
honestly,
about it.
I mean, I know Steve McNair was murdered.
Yeah.
And he was a heck of a player.
By his side piece, I think.
Yeah.
But
it's a pretty salacious story.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it.
I don't know that much either, other than he was tossing it around and the side piece got angry with him and a murder-suicide, right?
Yeah. About 6 months after that happened, there was a 6-part podcast released about it that was a pretty deep dive on it. And I listened to the whole thing, and the details are pretty chilling and pretty sad.
On the 27th of August, a week later, they will have one called Sign Stealer. Connor Stallions tells his side of the sign-stealing scheme that made him a viral villain.
That thing's going to be a hunk of crap.
That from Michigan.
Because that dude,
Well, again, I watch it because this is another one of those, like the Manziel one. Yeah. It's going to be strictly from his point of view.
And we really haven't seen much from him.
But we haven't seen him say anything.
He's just such a Michigan guy through it. I don't know. I'm skeptical, but you're right. I will watch it because that's another one that we've heard nothing from him other than about selling vacuums on his front porch.
What was Isaac's name for him? Something Steel? You had a different name for Connor Stallions that was Steel related.
I don't know. I don't remember. And then the third one on the 3rd of September is Hope Solo versus Team USA.
Oh.
And that will be about Hope Solo versus Team USA.
So it's just about her being drunk and a horrible human being and then being mad at Team USA?
Well, again, I'm guessing this will be a one-sided Hope Solo spun view of how everything has gone down. Now, there has been a lot with her.
Yes.
She has quite a wild life, and I don't honestly know a whole lot about how everything went down with Team USA. I mean, she was the goalkeeper on Team USA, women's soccer team. Yeah, she was really good, and
Jeremy Stevens. And...
Yeah, then she's
a Husky, right?
Then we found out that he was a Husky. Was she a Husky?
I thought she was.
He was. I don't know if she was or not.
Well, then we found out she's kind of white trash.
Yeah, she went to UW as well.
Yeah.
And all hell broke.
Kick the ball, you little bitch.
All hell broke loose with her.
Yeah, and she pissed off
I think she got a Dewey with her kids in the car, and
there were some allegations of child abuse as well, I think.
So again, that'll be one-sided, but it will be interesting to hear what she says about that.
Yeah. I ranking in order. McNair, yes. Hope Solo, maybe. And the Connor Stallion ones, I'm like,
All right.
I'll watch Stallions before Hope Solo.
They're coming out late August. Netflix Untold.
I just have no faith whatsoever in that Connor Stallions thing to be.
No, but I feel like I know the Hope Solo story better, at least from what the police blotter and all that stuff said. Like, we really haven't heard from Connor Stallions, and the whole thing was so weird that I just want to hear
have other people tell me if the Connor Stallions thing is worth a damn.
There you go.
Hope Solo's got a Tanya Harding sort of white trash car wreck sort of thing.
That vibe for sure.
And
she has nudes out there.
Oh yeah, not that I've seen them.
I haven't seen them because I don't look at that.
No, but if I
that
had
pornographic material.
Whoa.
Wow.
Do
you think she'll talk about those on there?
I would assume she has to.
Was that
right?
part of like a cloud leak or something? I don't remember that happening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you haven't seen them, don't look or do. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Just know that they're out there. Jeremy Stevens, by the way, let me reiterate in my brief encounter with him.
Wow.
One of the worst human beings I've ever encountered. Just FYI.
We've got some late-breaking Mariners news.
They lose again?
And no, they have not played yet today. But They are likely about to lose.
They suck.
And we'll get back to Big Ten Media Day. Is Oregon ready for the Big Ten? It is 3:58 on the Fan. Mariners news here in a moment, but I went down a Hope Solo rabbit hole during the break.
You got more interested in the documentary, did you?
Not really. I wanted to compile a list of the things that have been in the headlines regarding her.
Yeah.
Well, she does have the DUI.
Mm-hmm.
But
she get arrested for domestic violence, too?
Yes.
Yeah, she beat Jeremy Stevens.
And then Jeremy Stevens got arrested for domestic violence. And then, oh, by the way, Jeremy Stevens got a DUI driving the USA soccer van.
Yeah, they're an interesting lot.
They each have a Dewey and each have a domestic violence charge.
Yeah.
And what else was I going to tell you? Oh, she is blaming her Dewey. So a lot of that was many years ago. Oh, I know. They're still together.
Oh, really?
Are they really? There's an upset.
Interesting.
They've weathered a lot of storms.
Yeah.
Perfect
But
for each other, I
apparently
guess.
they have moved to a farm. They don't live in Seattle. They have moved to a farm in North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an odd. Well, I mean, I'm sure they both have a decent
Yeah.
chunk of money. I mean, they both played for a long time, and
I looked up their net worths.
yeah,
China.
I'm sure they're doing fine.
No, North Carolina, not
Oh,
China.
no.
A celebrity net worth says she's worth $3 million and he's worth $2.5 million.
Oh, there
I'm
you
really
go.
rich.
Oh, they're doing fine.
So they're okay.
She got suspended. I remember she got suspended a couple times by USA Soccer, and they didn't like her. And
Oh
apparently-
no, she's really outspoken.
Yeah.
Now I also read an article. A lot of the stuff happened many moons ago, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But the DWI for her was just a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and she is claiming postpartum depression
Ah,
on that.
You're still not allowed to drive drunk.
Well, but it's not her fault. So I can already see the Netflix Untold
yeah. being a-
documentary of her boohoo.
Mm.
You know, here's why all this stuff happened.
Yeah, well, I don't know a whole lot about her, but I've had run-ins with Jeremy Stevens, and just I don't think very highly of him. So I think he is a terrible human being. So maybe they deserve each other. I don't know, or maybe they're happy now and in North Carolina, and maybe they stop drinking and driving and stop beating each other. So
Well, they're in their 40s now.
I would hope so. Maybe they simmer down a little bit. Simmer down.
Simmer down
Simmer
now.
down now.
She's 42. He's only 38. Oh wait, no, that's a different Jeremy Stevens. Hold on. She's 42.
Well, I'm just hoping she doesn't do the "oh woe is me" thing. You know,
She will.
stand up and take it on the
Otherwise,
chin.
she wouldn't do a documentary.
That's true. Well, sometimes you can be defiant, but Hope Solo was a big deal for a while.
Oh, he's 44.
Yeah, like Hope was kind of. I mean,
Yeah, she was.
I mean, along with a couple others, she was one of the faces of U.S. soccer. I mean, back when there was the
Oh, big
rise of
time.
that, with you had Brandy Chastain
Alex
and
Morgan.
Mia Hamm and Alex Morgan and Hope Solo and of course the great Megan Rapinoe.
Can I? Am I misremembering that we had Hope Solo in studio?
I don't remember having Hope Solo in studio.
You know
No, I think we might have had Julie Foudy in studio.
who's that? I have no idea who Judy Fowley is.
Julie Foudy, she has a podcast on the Odyssey Network because she has a promo here that says, "What's up, party people? Yo, yo, yo."
She is another outspoken. She's another outspoken member, a former member of the U.S. Olympic team. But thank you for paying attention.
Well, I don't remember that.
I think we had her in.
We had
did.
Alex Morgan on the air.
Yes.
And I told her I loved her.
Yes.
But she didn't respond.
No.
I think we had Hope Solo in studio.
I think I would. Well,
They were making a tour. They were coming through for something
I'm
in Portland.
pretty sure that we had Foudy. I don't think we had Hope Solo.
All right.
I think Hope Solo was hot. I think I would have remembered Hope Solo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You would have
Dude.
shot your shot?
Hope Solo was she was the bee's knees for a while.
Jeremy Stevens come after you.
She was a big deal.
Sook likes that crazy hot vibe.
He does. And she is crazy.
That's well documented. Dude, Hope Solo.
Was it you thought that the lady putting the Roundup in the Mountain Dew looked like a good time?
Look, I stand by that statement. Go look up the gal that was poisoning her husband's Mountain Dew with rat poison, and tell me that girl that you wouldn't have a good time with that gal. Yeah, she poisoned her husband with rat poison. Look, I'm not saying that that's ideal. I'm just saying there's a reason why that guy hung around.
Her name is Michelle Peters.
That
if you'd
girl
like to Google.
That girl parties.
And she's from Missouri.
That girl knows what's up.
Be very careful.
Yes, look, don't drink beverages that she's giving you. But other things? I don't want to hear it, Buck. If you were at a bar and Michelle Peters came up to you, you'd be all about that. You'd be in the cougar den before you even knew it. Getting slapped around like a ball of yarn.
Hey, here's a question. Would you trade lives right now with Jeremy Stevens?
No, because he's a total POS.
No, it's still you. You're not him. You just get Hope Solo and all the money.
Oh, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
Look,
I want no part of
when
that.
I say that I'm interested in hanging out with Michelle Peters and the Rat Poison, I don't want to make that a thing. It's just it's an action. It's not a piece of work. You know, it's something you do. Can you imagine being in that level of just volatile mess on a day-to-day basis?
It sounds like you like that. You like that.
No.
You love it.
You like that?
You love the
You
drama.
like that?
It's fun for a Thursday. It's not fun for a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on into a long weekend sort of thing. I'm sorry, but if you are in a relationship where it's acceptable, where part of it is just mutual combat, no thanks.
No. Strong no.
Well, you know jujitsu. You could hold your own against Hope.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
She'd kick my ass.
I had to have this conversation once with someone who thought it was fine. A gal who thought it was fine to punch each other. I was like, what
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that.
Yes!
I'm going to kick your ass, you little bitch.
Yeah. And she was all about it. She had no problem throwing down. And I was like, we are not doing this. And she was like, what's the problem? She's like, I've been hit before. And I'm like, what? By who? What sort of relationships have you been in? As if it's a common thing for me to just turn around and deck someone.
Freaking punch it, bitch.
Like, first off, no. Second, I don't want to go to prison. And I did have to have the conversation where I was like, if you ever hit me, just so you know, I will pick you up, take you to the front step, put you out on the front step, lock the door, and you can come and pick up your stuff later on. Like, we're not doing that. But it is amazing how many people that is just like, oh, he hit me, I hit him. It's like,
Yeah. Well, they probably saw it grown up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, don't, by the way. That's not good.
Yeah. Don't do that.
So the answer, would I trade places with Jeremy Stevens? No.
Now, a chokehold, I mean.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Just kidding.
It happens.
Kidding. Yeah, somebody remind us too. Alex Morgan got kicked out of Disney. She was lit.
Yeah, she and a couple other Team USA
Remember
members,
that?
I think. Yeah. Disney World.
Wambach. Yeah, I mean they're animals.
Well,
They throw down.
They're animals.
Some of us, getting kicked out of Disneyland's easier than you think.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't kicked out of Disney. I was just asked to leave a Disney bar. It's not the same thing.
All right. Well,
Hope Solo.
the Hope Solo doc is coming out on September 3rd.
It's a kick-ass name, though. You got to admit. Hope
Great sports name.
Yeah, it's a great sports name.
Especially for a keeper.
Yeah. Hope Solo.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
But you have hope.
Yeah.
Oh, go talk to anyone that played with Jeremy Stevens, by the way. Just,
No thanks.
yeah, let's go ask some
By the
questions.
way, I'm looking at Hope Solo. Dare I say this? Your lady and her kind of look alike.
What?
Yeah. She looks a little bit like your lady. Not like exactly.
One's Japanese.
Well,
How does
I know.
that work?
Well, I'm not saying she looks Japanese.
You're saying she's the white version?
Yeah.
What is
I
it?
think
She's
there's
the
some similarity.
She's the Temu version of
Now,
the
of course,
BTJ?
most people don't know BTJ, so you don't.
Yeah.
People out there are like, I don't. But I'm telling you,
Interesting.
I think there's. I mean,
All right, hope.
yeah. Ah!
I hope the similarities aren't that close.
Yeah, she's trashy. Your girl's classy.
You know, on Amazon, you can buy a poster of Hope Solo nude watering the lawn.
Oh,
What?
On Amazon.
talk to me.
Yeah.
I mean, gross. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Disturbing.
Do you need me to like send a link or something?
No, I'm googling it.
Okay.
I'll get there. I don't see it on Amazon.
Yes.
Boy.
Did you find it?
No. There's some nice garden tools on here, though.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Where did you find it?
Oh yeah, just look at it's tasteful. Boy, that's a dude. I stand by my statement.
Oh.
Hope Solo had it going on back in the day. I know everyone hates her now, but
She's tall, right?
yeah, I think
Isn't
she's
she-
tall. I think
Oh,
she's
she was in the body issue. That's what it is.
tall drink of water.
Isn't that what it's from?
I think so.
Yeah.
Either that or she just likes to water her lawn nude.
Well, I
Special nude colony neighborhood in the suburbs.
wouldn't mind living across the street from that.
No, I'd take a look. I'm not gonna lie. Be out. I'd spend a lot
All
more
right.
time out in my yard.
The Mariners have made a move today, but it's not great.
Was it ever great? It's the last time. Well,
Well, yeah, they could have pulled off a trade
yeah, that's not gonna.
for a hitter.
Dipoto already told us that that's not likely because everyone else wants to make trades too.
Are you out of your mind?
We'll get to that next. It's 4:13 on the Fan.
Every
Well, the Mariners scored all of 1 run last night. They are 9-17 since June 18th.
Are you out of your mind?
6 of 7, if I'm not mistaken. And a shocker, Cal Raleigh had the only RBI last night.
Yeah, I was looking at their lineup last night. So J.P. Crawford got hurt.
Yeah, he got hit with a changeup in the first inning and broke his pinky. So he's heading to the DL for a while.
And the move today is that Julio Rodriguez landed on the IL.
With an ankle.
And they thought maybe he'd be back tonight, but they put him on the 10-dayer. So they're now without those two guys. Not that they were any good anyway. But, dude, I want to read you the batting averages of their lineup last night.
Well, remember, Ty France
he's out.
They booted him.
J.P. Crawford, 204. Luke Raley came in for him, 233.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Jorge Polanco, 202. Oh, sorry, Victor Robles hitting 300.
Yeah, there you go.
Jorge Polanco, 202. Cal Raleigh, 210. Mitch Garver, 168.
Oh, my God.
Dylan Moore, 208. Mitch Haniger, 206. Josh Rojas, 241. And who is this guy? Jonathan Clace?
Did you say Garver was hitting 168?
Yeah.
Now,
this guy's hitting 195.
Check me if I'm wrong, but isn't the designated hitter supposed to be good because, well, he's the designated hitter?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's all they got. They don't have anyone else.
And usually it's like, oh, well, maybe he'll at least have a couple of dingers. He doesn't have that many dingers
Yeah, because
either.
at least Cal's hitting whatever you said, like 212, but Cal, he hits for power.
He has 20 bombs.
He's got 20 bombs and 62 RBI.
Well, I mean, come on.
Cal's their best offensive player.
The elephant in the room is that Julio Rodriguez kind of sucks.
Yes.
He strikes out all the time. He's hitting 260, which is better compared to the other guys.
Well, I'll have to do this, but a couple weeks ago, someone put up a side, but it was before the All-Star break, put up a side-by-side of Julio and Kelnick, and it's they're
pretty
the same,
close.
They're the same player.
Oh my
I'll pull
God.
it up here.
Can we write off this thing as just like a sophomore slump? Is he going to turn this around because we've obviously seen how good he can be, or is this like a real problem?
I wouldn't be.
He's really talented.
I wouldn't be overly concerned.
He's really talented.
He's really good. All right, so here we go.
I don't know if he's really good, but he's really talented.
He's good. I mean, come on.
I think he's overrated.
Of all the things that you're worried about with the Mariners, Julio Rodriguez should not be the one. So
well, that's a different question. Yeah, no, I don't know that I'm too worried about him, but look, he's not that good, dude.
All right, so Julio is hitting 263 with 11 and 37, right? 687 OPS. Our man Jared in his frosted tips, 248, 11 home runs, 30 RBI, 718 OPS.
Same guy.
They're the same guy. And
that's crazy.
And that stings. Like,
that's crazy.
When one was run out of town and the other guy was held up as the savior of your franchise and the next Ken Griffey Jr. And by the way, that year was awesome because he was everything you could want and he had all the charm, and it was like finally from the Kelnicks to the I'm just like Dustin Ackley, who was the catcher that they went out and got that sucked rocks, that was supposed to be remember they got him from the Yankees. He was supposed to be the next great catcher.
Yeah, who was that? I do. Yeah,
right. And he just got fat. Like him and the manager got into it because he was fat. What was his name?
Is that Jesus Montero?
Jesus Montero. Yes. Yep. Like, how many failed like great prospects have they had? And J-Rod was the guy that broke that trend. Like, he was the guy, and now it's not so much. Although, to be fair, he's got nothing around him, an immense amount of pressure on him. So maybe it is just a sophomore slump, but it's not good when the guy that you ran out of town is essentially the same player. He just is.
And then that Luis Urias guy, remember they signed him, and remember when they signed him and Schultze got all hot and bothered about how bad of a move that was?
Yeah.
He was right. That dude is hitting 152. He doesn't even play. I mean, I don't even know if he's on the team.
Well, and the guy that you let go because he struck out too much is in LA and hitting homers.
They all suck balls.
Every one of them.
It is kind of amazing. But then you got
and yet they're still in the race.
They are. Well, they're tied right now, right? They lost, but so did Houston, so I think they're still tied.
So do you think they're going to pull off a trade? The trade deadline is next week.
Well, I don't know. I mean, do we have the clip? Do you have the clip of DePoto?
Yeah, I'll find it. Hold on a second.
Dude, it's like, if you're a Mariner fan, it's the most depressing thing you've ever heard. He comes out and says, "Hey, I failed to address the bat need in the offseason. That's on me." And Yeah, we could address it, but I wouldn't count
I've
on
got it right here. Isaac, if you haven't heard this is a doozy.
I have not.
We don't make enough contact. That's plain and simple. It's our biggest hickey. It's the area where we need to make the most improvement. It's hard to imagine us going into the postseason and doing damage without improving in that area. And that's the simple truth of it. And that's going to come in some part from the guys that are on our club. And obviously as we come down here these next couple of weeks with the trade deadline, if we can improve in those areas, we'd like to. I don't know if that's realistic based on right now the congestion in the playoff race and who's going to be available or not available. But we understand that it's a weakness on our team, and that's on me. That's on me for looking at it from the front end of the season and believing that we made enough positive addition to offset what was a strikeout problem a year ago.
Well, I asked the question, what did you do in the offseason to address it?
Are you out of your mind?
Luis Serious.
And then you come out and you have the balls to be like, yeah, I know we need to. But then he laughs and is like, I don't know how realistic that is because other teams are going to want to make moves too.
It's a really congested playoff race. Isn't that the case every year? That's how the sport goes, dude.
Now with the additional wild card, dude, you can be a 500 team and be in the mix.
54%, dude.
Gosh almighty.
And by the way, this is Julio's third year, not his second.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So it's not a sophomore.
Yeah,
so he won Rookie of the Year. He hit 284, 28, 75. Last year, he went 275, 32, 103.
Okay, and then
finished fourth in MVP voting. And this year, if he can get healthy, he has time to crank up the numbers, but he's just 263 with 11.
See, I'm not overly concerned. I think he'll be fine. I think
I'll tell you, I watched him a lot. He misses a lot of fastballs, and it's just weird.
It is shocking, though. Again, we've done this. It's like a broken record, but run differential is, they always say that it's a pretty good indicator of if you're fool's gold or if you're legit. Like if you've got a poor record but you have a great run differential, they say it'll balance out.
You can pull out of that, yeah.
And vice versa. Like if you have a good record but your run differential is crap, people are like, be careful. Division leading run differential: Dodgers plus 96, Brewers plus 82, Philly plus 107. Guardians plus 78, Orioles plus 91, the Yankees are plus 109.
Royals.
Where are my Royals? The Royals, by the way, plus 80.
Boom.
And the Astros, who technically do lead that division, plus 48. The Seattle Mariners plus 14. You just
not sustainable for a winning record.
It's not sustainable. You are not going.
What were they
anywhere.
last year?
I'll have to pull that up for the year. But just to give you an idea of a team that's, that else is in that realm. I mean, like the Arizona Diamondbacks are plus 16 for God's sakes.
Mariners were plus 99 a year ago.
Plus 99.
Pretty good.
188 games.
Yeah. And now they're sitting there.
Well, a couple of, so the trade deadline's next week. A couple of names that have popped up if they were to make a trade. Cody Bellinger is one, but I think that's where DePoto's saying there's probably going to be too much competition for him.
Yeah.
He's hurt right now, but the Cubs may be selling, and he'll probably go somewhere way better than Seattle. Another one.
Why can't Seattle then have some balls and overpay for someone?
Yeah, that's a good question. I just don't think he wants to. I don't think he wants to give up all his youngs that can't hit.
Because those young assets always come up to do so much.
And then Jorge Soler is another one. He's hitting bombs for the Giants right now. He kind of sucks, but he's got some power. But if they want to address the swing and miss, that's probably not a way to do it. Jorge. And then Jock Peterson is a name that's out there.
He's out there.
And he can't hit lefties, but as a lefty hitter, he can provide a little pop, although I could totally see him pulling a Mitch Garver if he comes to Seattle.
And hit 168.
Exactly. So
I almost feel like that's like what's written in the stars. Like that guy could be good for somebody else, but if he comes here, 168.
There's no bats available.
It's true. It's like Jock Peterson's the quintessential guy. If he goes to the Yankees, he'll probably be great. Yeah. And if he goes to the Mariners, he will suck large testicle.
Well, it's kind of like Adrian Beltre, right? Like he came here just meh, and then he goes elsewhere afterwards, and he's awesome.
Well, Beltre though is a Hall of Famer. I mean, Peterson's not.
But his worst years were here.
No, yeah, but it's more like the Sean Figgins example. Like that guy was pretty good for the Angels. He came to the Mariners and he's out of the league.
Yeah, well, he came with and Sexton kind of gets lumped into that, but Sexton did what
he
was
did
supposed
a good
to
job
do here.
Yeah,
he didn't hit for average, but he never did. But Figgins was.
Yeah,
Terrible.
Figgins. So Sean Figgins hit 330 in 2007 for the Angels.
Yeah.
330.
Yeah.
Good little hitter. Now, not a lot of pop, but he comes to the Mariners and he hit 259, 188, and 181. The year before he got to the Mariners, he hit 300 for the Angels. It's uncanny.
Well, and I get like the whole marine layer, but how?
Marine layer? What the hell is this?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like people say you can't hit in Seattle, like, and they always say like is the air like really? It's that bad? Like no one
That's
can hit
dumb.
in Seattle.
Get out of here with that.
Get some of those big Metrodome fans then and blow it out.
Could they hit in the Kingdom? Put that back up.
Yeah, just play with the roof, and close it. Get some bubble wrap on there. Do something because the offense is it's painful to watch. And now you're losing games 3-1 to the GD Angels.
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you think that even if they got like Cody Bellinger or whatever, do you think it matters? Because this year I don't know that it does. They had too many holes.
They have probably too many holes.
And
but
now they're banged up.
The pitching staff is so good.
I know. They got to get it right next year.
I don't know if one guy makes a difference, but I would at least, if I'm a Mariner fan, and this is what you always said about the Blazers, just do something. You're charging me an arm and a leg for tickets. You're hitting me for $60 to park. And each year you keep freaking telling me that you're going to get better and you don't. So give me something. Just show me something that you're willing to say that we're looking to contend right now. Because you've been in first place basically all year. And now you've been hunted down by the Astros. Don't just sit there and let yourself get lapped and then get into the postseason. Like you even said it. DePoto said, I can't imagine us doing any sort of damage with this problem. So if you go into the postseason and you do nothing, that to me is a fireable thing because you are admitting that you can't do squat in the postseason and you do nothing to address it.
Well, maybe it's time for a new GM. I mean, DePoto has not done a bad job of building the team up.
No.
He
Solid
has.
roster.
He's got good pitchers.
Staff,
You got Julio in there, and hopefully he'll get it turned around. So there's a foundation there that you can build on. I think they have some young prospects too, but maybe it's time for fresh eyes to come in and put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, something.
Hire me.
Well, there you go. Are you going to win 56% of your games?
All I do is win my fantasy league.
Well, I mean,
every year.
Every year. I mean, the Steamers are an esteemed.
I don't mess
franchise.
around.
No,
I've benched Julio.
I know, dude. I have seen the Cleveland Steamers sit people down, star players.
That's right. I just traded Verlander. He got cocky. I traded his ass.
Well, he's hurt all the time.
Exactly, and he's overrated. He's old.
I mean, I want if someone does replace DePoto, they should totally do a bid and come in and say that they're looking to win 55%.
55%.
Hey, just so you guys know, we're setting new standards around here. 55%.
What's Bill Bavasi doing?
Oh, gosh.
Remember that guy?
Looking like an alien? I don't know what Bill Bavasi's doing. He had the strangest head. He looked like he was something out of Star Wars.
He had kind of a boxed head.
We'll look and see what Bill Bavasi's doing.
All right, in the news is next. You are no longer allowed to drive to Idaho. It's 4:32. Here's Buck.
This is a Big Ten Media Week.
Yeah, somebody was texting into the Vancouver Fort text line, one of you fine listeners out there, and they said Teoscar Hernandez said he couldn't hit in Seattle because the batter's eye isn't straight.
Yeah, I've heard some people talk about that out there at certain points of the day it's problematic.
Well, I looked up his quote. He did say that. He said, so Teoscar hit 295 on the road and 217 at T-Mobile Park.
Yeah.
And he said, his quote was, I think everything comes down to being confident at home plate. That was one of the hardest things for me, was getting comfortable at the plate when we were at home. I don't know, for some reason, I always see the pitcher like sideways, not straight. I couldn't figure it out. How to be in a straight position with the pitcher, that was hard for me. It's a nice place to play because the city, the fans, the organization, everything is amazing, but that's the only bad thing I could say about Seattle. That's interesting.
Is it possible then that they could just, I don't know, change that?
Fix
And
it?
now he's doing great with the Dodgers?
I know, it is weird.
That's not the first time I've heard that, and I never know. I mean,
Well, why would any hitter sign there then?
I don't know. Well, money.
Well, I guess, but
I mean, we have had people that have that have hit there. I mean, I don't. Is it a problem for everybody? I don't know.
It's a weird one. July 23, 2024, time for In the News. I'm your newsman. Hello, thank you so much.
Ahoy!
Ahoy, thank you, America. Please be seated. I have, well, first let me tell you, it's National Vanilla Ice Cream Day.
Okay. I got nothing wrong with vanilla ice cream, but vanilla ice cream really is a conduit to pie and other things.
It's a compliment for another dessert. You don't want it just by itself. You can have it by itself, but there's other things to do.
I will say, like a vanilla twisty cone, that can be refreshing.
Like soft serve, you mean?
Soft serve,
Yeah.
but in general, a scoop of vanilla, that needs to be.
Isn't it a red flag if someone orders just vanilla ice cream?
Yeah, I have a buddy who's like, my favorite flavor of ice cream is vanilla.
I know.
Like, there's something wrong with you.
Somebody said that the other day to me that I was golfing with, and I was like,
Yeah, you don't trust people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ordering chicken tendies too. Like it's you're ordering the hamburger at a Mexican restaurant. I can't trust you.
You know what else today is, JC Babes?
What do we got?
Gorgeous Grandma Day.
Oh, hey, there's hot grandmas out there now, man.
Well, I really enjoy the show.
The grandmas are getting younger and younger.
Thank you. Bye.
Who's the hottest grandma in the world?
Oh, I bet you there's probably like a Sofia Vergara sort of type out there who's like 55 and is a grandma, and I bet is an absolute dime.
There's a woman from Australia. Her name is Gina Stewart. I just Googled hottest grandmas. And
the same thing.
Yeah, Gina Stewart. She's the world's hottest grandma.
There's a title and everything.
Boy,
Yeah,
I'll tell
there's
you
a,
what,
and she is hot.
She's 52.
Yeah, she's a grandma.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Oh my.
That's up and good from.
God.
That good from about what 64? You'd say.
I mean, she looks like a
That's 64 from the hash marks.
30-year-old model.
Yeah.
With huge up tops.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm telling you, man. The
grandma.
The one thing that society has going for us right now is you get hotter longer. You go back and look at like a 52-year-old from 1962. It's no good. That's how old like the Golden Girls were. That was like that was Betty White in like 1984, and now we're getting this gal.
Well, we've got some wildfire problems.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when I was down in Central Oregon, we were getting hit with. We were getting hit with that.
Tough time of year to go down there. I mean, that's it. That's the other thing about living in Central Oregon. I don't know, man. It's the fire thing is.
You're one spark away from a really bad summer anytime.
Yes, imagine those. I mean, those poor people in Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit Lake, they're having to rebuild still, and I don't know, man. It's wild out there.
It does create some pretty sunsets and cool moons. So if you want to try to find a bright side.
Yeah, I remember last year we went to Black Butte and the fires. The pictures are amazing.
Yeah.
With the mountains and the
I'm not gonna lie,
sun.
I'm still looking at Gina Stewart.
But right now, 84 eastbound is closed from Pendleton to Baker City. ODOT is not allowing local eastbound passenger traffic on 84 due to the Durkee fire burning near Farewell Bend.
No good.
Between Baker City and Haines.
Well, I mean, the whole thing out there. I mean, every place you go when you drive down there, there's big Smokey the Bear signs, everything, fire risk, super dangerous. Because you just look at it, dude, every piece of grass out there is just dead. It's just a big tinderbox waiting to go off. Do we know how this one started? Was this man-made or lightning?
Yeah, this one in particular, I'm not sure, but I was seeing on the news the other day that a lot of these that are burning are man's fault.
Yeah, some dumbass decides to go out and light a campfire, and then he's like, "Oh, I was being responsible." Yeah, right until one of your ashes flew off in the distance, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, they're saying this Durkee one is a lightning strike.
Okay.
July 18th.
If only we would rake Central Oregon. If we just
rake the forest.
If we would just rake the forest in the.
Trump had this years ago. We just need to clean up our forest floors.
Ahead of his time, that man.
Rake in the forest.
Well, that sucks. But on the bright side, you can't drive to Idaho.
Oh, okay.
On 84.
So no go, huh?
That's great.
Well, I was looking.
Who wants to go there?
I was looking at making my way over to Twin Falls later this week, but no more. I will say Coeur d'Alene is delightful. I'll give that to Idaho. Outside of that, I'm good.
So we have 4 mega fires. The Durkee, the Cow Valley fire. That's in Baker County. We have, Malheur County. We have the Falls Fire in Harney County and Lone Rock Fire in Gilliam County.
Nothing that's hitting close to home, though.
Not yet.
Yeah. Fingers
Durkee
crossed.
is the largest, but they're all mega fires, they say.
You all right over there? You having a moment?
Trying to figure out the next story to present to you. As your noted newsman, I take this job seriously.
Lot to choose from, huh?
Would you like to hear about a gator on the loose?
Yeah, let's talk about hot gator news.
In Washington.
Ooh. Is this? Do I need to be on the lookout?
It's possible.
Is there a gator in Fairway Village? They're on number 3, the water hole, the one water hole. There's a gator in there?
It's possible. That story next on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
And Adele lines one up the middle. That's a base hit. It's into center field. Drury's on his way home. Robles double clutches. Throw to the plate. Not in time. Drury scores. Now the ball gets away. Here comes Neto. He scores.
Joe Adele. That guy sucks.
Well,
and he knocks in.
Not against the Mariners.
Not against the M's, he doesn't. On the plus side,
my.
All right. We are back. This is in the news for July 23, 2024. We have mistaken identity news here up in your state, Snohomish County. Deputies received reports of a 10-foot alligator in Granite Falls. You need to turn on your mic if you want to.
A little chilly for alligators up in that part of the state, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but, if you look at the picture and the Snohomish sheriff tweeted it out, it does look like an alligator in the picture, but it was mistaken identity. It actually is a white Argentine tegu named Taz. It's a lizard.
Someone thought that was an alligator.
What's a tegu?
It just looks like a big iguana.
Well, okay, but you're not looking at are you looking at the picture that they tweeted of what they saw? Because it does look like an alligator.
Oh, okay, I see that.
See that one?
Yeah.
That looks like a gator. But if you look at the picture of the tegu, Taz, it looks nothing like an alligator.
Yeah,
isn't that weird?
I can kind of see, because it's hidden amongst the foliage.
Yeah, and it's dark.
I can kind of see that.
Got the scales.
Yeah.
The tail. It's a big ass lizard.
Yeah, it's a big lizard. Yeah, but when you actually see photos of the lizard, it looks
nothing
like
it. Yeah.
So
there.
Was this someone's pet?
Yes, it was a pet, and it has been reunited with its owner.
Oh, okay.
Taz.
It just got
Taz
out.
got away.
Well, good for Taz.
And was roaming the forests.
Good for Taz.
They are known. These tegus are native to Central and South America, and they are known for their large size and predatory habits. However, they say Taz in particular is friendlier than most. He's kind of a goofy lizard.
Isn't that what they always say right before that lizard tries to gnaw through your carotid artery?
Do lizards even have the capacity to be goofy? I'm calling bullsh.
He's goofy and he likes to drink.
Well, what is any personality on this reptile? It's not a thing.
And he wears bow ties.
Yeah, I see that all the time where people try to make their pet gators or lizards out to be very loving. Same thing with snakes. I'm with you. It doesn't seem that way.
Yeah, Taz escaped.
Reptilian brain.
Taz escaped from his enclosure. His owner, Shanna Duncan, says he is not dangerous at all, and they're very happy to be reunited with him.
How does it say it's not dangerous at all when they're known for their predatory behavior? I wouldn't want to piss that thing off. And by the way, the owner looks exactly like who you think would own a predatory lizard. I'm just making that general statement.
In Snohomish County.
Yeah, if you live in Snohomish County and you own some sort of giant reptile, I judge you. There's something wrong. That's not normal behavior. You know,
I know that's weird.
It's
like
strange.
Snake Guy.
It is. It's like Snake Guy or Labradoodle Guy. Something is just.
Hey! Now we're crossing lines again.
Something is weird and it's off.
No, this is not like that.
What happened to you as a child that made you?
That you would want to have a wonderful hypoallergenic dog that's just cuddly as can be. She's at the groomers today, by the way.
Yeah, you're just a sheep buying into the hype.
That's exactly
Dogs
right.
are overrated.
Me and my Labradoodle and my Subaru just doing what the masses do.
Embarrassing.
Like if you go over to a gal's house on the first date and it's like, hey, here's my giant pet lizard.
His name's Taz, and he's really sweet.
But if you have a Labradoodle, she'll be like, oh.
Aw.
They're different, Suk.
Can I get in your Subaru?
Yeah.
And finally, Jace, we've got a little issue. You know, you wonder why there is so little faith in Portland. Another example would be they can't even calculate our water bills correctly.
Yes.
I don't know if you've been reading about this, but the source of the data that the city of Portland uses to raise stormwater charges on people's water and sewer bills.
Take that for data.
Well, they're now saying that they're using data that isn't accurate for that. They're using data outside of its intended purpose.
Seems problematic.
Well, yeah, some people are saying, well, wait a minute, because I don't know if you've read, but in Portland, they are raising a general water and sewer rate increase is coming of about 6.2%.
Okay.
But stormwater costs are going up 30%.
That's a big jump.
Yeah. And people are going, wait a minute, that's not how you measure. Like, they're saying, we don't have that much stormwater. I have a small house.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they just revamped how they charge people if you live in a single-family home for stormwater services. And it used to charge those properties the same amount regardless of the size. They're now broken into small, standard, and large categories based on the area of the property.
Sure.
Roof space, driveway, sidewalks, and everything like that. But the county says its data may not capture that information accurately. So
you could be paying for...
Correct.
Well, that seems...
And people are pissed about it.
Well, I don't blame them. Because all we do in Portland is tax, and raise things.
So the city is using the data anyway, and they are saying that in the small house category, roughly 23% of customers will see a slight decrease in their stormwater bill, while the bills stay flat for about 60% of customers in the standard category. The other 25,000 customers in the large category will see a 30% increase in stormwater service costs.
Boy, that stings a little bit.
They are saying this is more equitable because the larger houses obviously have more runoff. So
but no one else gets really any sort of charge, and then
that's what they're
if you have
saying.
a big house, screw you.
But a lot of people are calling bullshit on this.
Yeah,
how they measure this.
If you own now, luckily I don't own a big house, nor do I live in Portland, but I can see where that would chap my ass. You know, not having a big house doesn't even necessarily mean that you have a super nice house. It just means it's pretty large. 30%, no one else has to pay anything.
The city is saying that even when the data is wrong, it favors homeowners by underestimating the amount of surfaces, the impermeable surfaces.
So what they're saying is you've been getting a break all these years, so shut up.
I think they're saying, yes, we're doing you a favor. Shut up. Stop looking at us.
Yeah, there's not a lot of faith right now in government agencies.
Well, this is why. It's like, what is this? What even is this?
It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to figure out the appropriate way to do it.
I think every other municipality on Earth, well, maybe not on Earth, but in many major cities, they've got this figured out. Why can we not? Why is this a problem? It is 2024.
Well, hey, stormwater is hard to calculate.
How far up your ass is your head?
Do you know how to calculate stormwater? Because I don't.
Well, when we did a big remodel, we had to move our stormwater.
Did you?
You know, and it was a bit, and we have a small house, but I mean, it was a big deal.
Well,
and the city comes out, and the little guy in the little white car, and he tells you what you can and can't do. And
well, maybe you should be in charge of stormwater then. I don't know. I don't know any of that. Like all the time with like your power bill and your water bill. I don't know. You're just like, that's the bill. And some months you look at it, you're like, what the hell? And then that's the extent of it. You ever do that? You look at your bill, and you're like, why is it?
I look at the bill, and then I'm you know what I'm going to do?
Is something leaking?
I'm going to break this down. And then you go into the breakdown, and you're like, yeah, I don't understand that. I'm
and then you
put
just
that over.
Pay it. And,
put it over here.
That's my favorite when I see a bill and I'm outraged. And
800 BTUs.
Then I immediately,
wait, what's a BTU?
I mean, British thermal unit, by the way.
Oh, good for
Whoa,
you.
good pull.
Yeah.
Boom.
What does that even mean, though?
Couldn't tell you, man. I just know that it's British. That's a BTU.
That's with HVAC, though, right? BTUs? What's the...
BTUs, BTJs.
Yeah, it's all the same. Whatever it takes. 220, 221,
what about
whatever
BTJ?
it takes.
Oh, I should shut up. Sorry. I was going to...
Yep, I knew where you were going with that.
You ever do that? At the house?
Whoops. Only on the cool days.
All right, well, that's all we have time for here on In the News from your noted newsman. You're welcome. July 23, 2024. Coming up next, we have the Hot 5 at 5, the top sports stories of the day. It is 4:57 on The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Fred Meyer for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600
back. Hope you're having a nice little Tuesday. It's Rob and Sook, your sports bros, bruh. Big Sook's right over there.
Reading about stormwater and whatnot.
I'm Isachi. What's going on with stormwater readings over there? What are you learning?
I didn't know a whole lot about stormwater, by the way.
Yeah, you got to direct it.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I wasn't familiar with it.
Off your house.
Yeah, I had no idea that that was even like a.
Yeah,
that was like its own separate entity.
Yeah,
you learn something new every damn day.
That you do.
Yeah.
Basically, we pay for it to rain around here.
Yes, which is interesting. I can't say that I knew that.
You could always rent.
Yeah, you could, but then
pass the buck.
Some people love it. That's like the people that like lease cars. It's just they don't want the hassle. That and buying homes is hard right now. Interest rates.
Coming up this hour, we will discuss Oregon moving to the Big Ten. It is Big Ten Media Day.
Yeah.
Or at least day 1 of Big Ten Media Day.
Yeah, what they're doing 6 at a time.
Day 2 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Day 3 Thursday.
Football's football, and the only way to get better at it is to play football.
And that will be landing in the Duckies. Will be on Thursday.
And the Huskies. Don't forget about the Huskies.
The Huskies. Yeah, you kind of forget about UW. We talk so much about Oregon, but yeah, the Pac-12 champs that played for the national championship last year, they're in the Big Ten as well. Although I've seen most people have UW as a 7-8 win team this year.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad though. I mean, if they win 7 or 8,
I think with the
you're
loss,
expecting more than that.
The loss they had in the transition that they're going through with Fish, I think if you won 8 games and got to a bowl game, I think you're happy if you're UW. And maybe not. Maybe
yeah.
I mean,
you thought you were gonna suck.
Yeah. I mean, you got gutted there, but I think you ended up with a good coach. The only question is, can you keep your coach? I think if Fish stays at UW with their NIL they have and in the Big Ten, place at the table, UW will be fine.
But we know he's a mover too.
Yeah, he doesn't stay anywhere.
Well, and that's the terrifying thing is he's a Florida guy. That's where he started, loves Florida.
And that's a hot seat in Gainesville.
And that's a hot seat because Napier's going to get fired. And you want to talk about just what would be devastating for that program is you beat Oregon 2 years in a row. You play for a national championship. You think you've got your guy in DeBoer. He leaves for Alabama. You get a guy in Fish that you feel really, really good about, and then he leaves a year later. For Florida.
One and done would be painful.
That would be. It would just be ridiculous.
The longest place he's been?
What, 3 years?
Yeah, Arizona.
So
3 years.
Well, and we've learned. There's most jobs in America are indeed stepping stone jobs. They just are. And Oregon can sit here and bow up their chest and say, we're not a stepping stone job. You have been. You have been a stepping stone job. It's just that Lanning chose to stay here. And by the way, he's only been here a couple years. So let's not just automatically assume that he can be here forever. But you have elevated yourself right now where you hope you're not a stepping stone job. But for places like UW that are really, really good schools, and I'd make the argument there's probably only 15 jobs that are significantly better than UW. Unfortunately, Florida's one of them. And so is Alabama. And that sucks. But that's just the reality. But when you're a school like Washington State, dude, there's 50 jobs that are better than your job. And so that's the real crappy part. We were talking about the Indiana bro. What was that guy's name?
Kurt Signetti.
Yeah.
He's a pimp.
He's a total pimp. He came into Indiana and is just like, I win wherever I go. And it's
Google
true.
Me, bitch.
Yeah, he said, Google me.
Yeah, Google me. But that's,
and we did.
But that is the truth, is that if he comes into Indiana and has a great year, he's gone.
Probably to Washington.
And then the terrifying part is that if he wins at Washington, then he moves on to Florida State. There's just not many schools where you feel that your guy is safe and secure. And that's the reality of
Look,
college football.
Here's all I'll say about Washington, and I don't know anything. You know that. I think Jedd Fish is. I think he's a good stopgap, considering the circumstances. But I think these guys that are always moving like this, they have fatal flaws and they know it, and they stay ahead of it. And I just don't think that's a guy that will ever be good enough to stay somewhere like Washington and build something big. I think he's going to be a flash in the pan, just like he was at Arizona, and he's going to move on to the next thing, and he's going to stay ahead of that and move on to the next thing. That's his mojo. So I don't think it's a huge deal if Jedd Fish moves on in 2 years. You just hope that he stabilizes things in the meantime, in between DeBoer and whoever you get next.
Yeah. Well, if you just don't want to be that school because you You know, if you get that revolving door, it can be problematic. Although Oregon seems to have landed. They got the revolving door going between Helfrich and then Taggart and Cristobal. Look, I'm not going to say you got lucky. There's more than luck involved, but let's just say you're very fortunate to be where you're at.
100%. The timing and lining up with you getting Dan Lanning and him being the guy for this kind of new NIL transfer portal era, yeah, they got incredibly fortunate.
That's the real bitch of college football. Is if you want to say one thing that is the biggest pitfall, I just think it's that. You know, it's not the transfer portal. I mean, NIL. If you don't have your NIL in order, you don't have a chance. But that's a recent phenomenon. The coaching thing has always been there, and it's why the big stay big and the little stay little. It means you can't keep good coaches.
Coming up tonight in the club, something has happened that has us rethinking how life on Earth began.
Ooh, I do love these stories.
So we will get to that. But right now, the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, Charlie, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
Are you ready for the Cade Marlowe era to begin?
Yes.
Say yes.
I did. But I did it with a yes.
The Mariners have placed Julio Rodriguez and J.P. Crawford on the IL. Ty France designated for assignment. So today the club recalled Tyler Locklear, Leo Rivas, and Cade Marlowe.
Oh, is Marlowe like a hot young prospect at least?
I don't know.
I'm looking him up with the Rainiers.
Paul Skeens Day in Pittsburgh. The Bucks hosting the Cardinals. St. Louis, though, up 1-0. Big fat Lance Lynn having none of the Skeens love.
Yeah,
he is
innings.
shutting out the Pirates. It is 1-0 in the 6th.
I'm looking up my Marlowe here. See what the hell he's got going on.
I'm guessing not a lot. Otherwise, he would have already been up.
He is a. I actually think this is a pretty exciting and a perfect call. So in AAA Tacoma, he is hitting 235.
Number 4.
230?
235? Hey, that's got to be like 215 in the bigs. And
Does it?
He's got 13 homers, 45 RBI.
Back in
the
April.
Cal Raleigh of Tacoma.
Back in April, the Jets traded a 6th-round pick to the Eagles for pass rusher Hassan Reddick. New York at that time had a window to lock him up to a long-term deal, but they failed to get it done. Now he's unhappy with his contract, and he is skipping camp.
Yeah, he's showing up.
The Jets say that they will not reopen negotiations with him unless he returns to camp.
Well, and under the new CBA, dude, he gets fined 50 G's a day for being gone, and he can't recoup that. You know, it used to be.
So he'll show up.
Well, he should. I mean,
Jets aren't having it.
Well, he's making $14 million this year. I still find it interesting these teams trade for guys knowing that they want new deals and then are surprised when this happens.
Yeah, right.
It's just silly.
The Jags have signed Tyson Campbell to a 4-year, $76 million extension. He, of course, a cornerback, former second-round pick. He will get $53 million guaranteed, and he will be the highest-paid corner that is not a Pro Bowler in NFL history.
Did anyone else say who today when that name came across?
I was like, what?
I did.
Highest paid corner in the NFL.
How about that?
And they're all grouped together. He's like 19.1. The highest is like 20.4. So they're all in the same range.
Niners first-round pick, wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, injured his hamstring away from the team, and he will begin the season on the physically unable to perform list.
The old pup list.
As for Brandon Ayuk, he is in camp. GM John Lynch saying today that he hopes that Ayuk will be an integral part of the team this season.
And Ayuk also does not want to give up $50,000 a day. Dude, I do not understand these holdouts. All you're doing is cutting off your own nose. Like your big protest is $50,000 a day, as if the team is just like, okay. Just sit there and let you rack up $1 million worth of fines.
Patriots coach Gerard Mayo says there's little question who their starting quarterback is. It is not Drake May. It is the great Jacoby Brissett.
So for Bailey Zappi. Is he still around?
I thought they got rid of Bailey Zappi.
NFL Players Association says it's having high-level conversations with the NFL about an 18-game regular season schedule. This would be something they could corkscrew in before the end of the current CBA, which expires in 2030.
How do they corkscrew that in without the PA vote?
I don't know. Well, there would be a vote, but
Yeah.
I think they're saying that they could just amend the CBA with it.
But I'm fairly certain the players would have to. I mean, the players aren't just going to go along with this unless there's some concessions.
Well, the head cheese of the Players Association said that he will be presenting to them soon, and yeah, it will be collectively bargained, but they don't have to wait until 2030.
Yeah. I wonder what they're giving up, and I wonder what they're giving up to the players in order to get that 18.
Well, probably a preseason game for sure, right?
Preseason game, but there's got to be something else because again, it's not like it's more money. I mean, I guess it grows league revenue, it doesn't grow the salary cap, but I mean, your check just gets split another way. I just can't imagine that a ton of players are super geeked about playing 18 games.
Number one.
And number one, Big Ten Media Day is underway with a giant inflatable Oregon duck floating on the White River in downtown Indianapolis.
It really was, and this says something about who was actually the 6 teams that were at the Media Day today. No offense to Illinois, but it is sad that the biggest story out of Big Ten Media Day, and I kid you not, is the giant inflatable duck in the ring.
Bits, lots of bits.
Did you see anything else meaningful on Big Ten Media Day?
Well, there was one thing, and it was Commissioner Tony Petitti who announced that the Big Ten title game will remain at Lucas Oil Field until at least 2028. There is some thought that after that, because the Big Ten has added schools from the West, that perhaps the Big Ten championship game will be in Vegas, but at least until 2028, they will keep it in boring-ass Indianapolis.
Lucas Oil, where no one wants to go.
In a dome.
In a dome.
On the turf.
It's the worst conference championship game there is. And at least this year and the coming years, it won't be such a dud because the problem in the years past with their stupid Legends Leaders division is it was always like Ohio State versus the Iowa, and now they've gotten rid of that and it's the 2 best teams.
So it'll be Rutgers,
Maryland, I would think.
And Oregon.
Well, and we talked about it. I mean, you could see something like Oregon, Ohio State 3 times this year. If both those teams have great seasons, you could see Oregon, Ohio State regular season in the Big Ten title game and then in the college football playoff.
Victorico's Mexican food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victoricos.com. All right, is Oregon ready for the Big Ten? I was inspired by a conversation that I heard on my favorite midday show, Danny and Dusty, yesterday. They were talking about Oregon's move to the Big Ten, and they got me a thinking. And you know what happens when I start thinking?
Oh, boy.
Nothing good.
Segments.
5:16 on the Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
Big Ten Media Day is underway. A couple big interviews here on The Fan today. Yogi Roth and some Wisconsin fatty. I don't know. He's going to go get him one of those Milwaukee Butter Hogs.
Oh, look, taking shots at the Butter Hogs.
Well, look, Wisconsin, it's like a source of pride for them. The big fat offensive linemen, they love that.
Why do we have to be fat?
Well, the Wisconsin ones are.
Why can't we be svelte?
Because you're not. You're all a bunch of fat asses. And it's great.
It hurts. That hurts.
But anyway, rough day for Swag out at Big Ten Media Day. He's going to hopefully bounce back tomorrow.
We're looking for a rebound
with some more interviews. Yeah. But slim pickings today.
We're blowing out Colin tomorrow, so I think the pressure really is on Swag.
Danny and Dusty are doing 5 hours tomorrow.
Yeah. So if it's 5 hours and Swag produces Bubkiss, that's going to be a rough look.
They did have the Ohio State AD, Ross Bjork, sit down at their table, or our table.
Yeah.
And then he got up and left.
Oh. Just, okay. Well, it's a bit awkward.
Swag charm couldn't hold him, huh?
Well, and I did see Swag tweeted out a photo of our table, and, can he not? Did you see what he did there with the logo?
Here's the situation.
Well, yes, I tweeted at him. I'm like, dude.
Is he never put on a...
I said, Swigard, I saw that photo this morning when I woke up, and I'm having my morning coffee, and I'm sitting there going, I was stunned, and it took me about 30 minutes to think of what might have been going through his head to put the 1080 The Fan table skirt on the way he did.
Yeah.
How far up your ass is your head? I mean, I'm like, dude, what is this?
It looks a little suspect.
A little? Yeah. Who puts a table skirt on that way?
Never seen anything like it.
Well, then he fixed it and tweeted out another picture where it's like, well, why didn't you do that the first time? What is going through your head? How is that the choice?
We've cleaned it up now that we're settled in.
Jesus, man. Well, there's 2 tables there.
Yeah.
And so he, in his infinite wisdom, he decided to put it over both tables so that the 1080, it doesn't fit. You can't. So then he just finally took it and put it on one table and then just moved the other table back. It's just like, Jesus, man. It's like dealing with a 3-year-old.
Oh, I just love
What are you thinking?
I just love that our first Big Ten Media Day is off to a rousing
It's not going well for 1080 The Fan.
To be fair, it sounds like the conference deserves plenty of blame.
And more importantly, Swag did get free beef jerky today, so we're doing great.
The Pac-12 had their stuff together.
Yeah.
The Big Ten does not, and apparently Swigard basically just has to go and grab people and drag them over to our table, and they're all stronger than him, and they are not being dragged.
Yeah,
here's the situation.
They don't know who Swag is. None of the hosts are there. It's just an empty table with a headset. It's not going well.
Hold on,
Swag's
everybody.
probably wearing a bunch of UP Portland gear. That they don't. They're like, who that?
He's got to at least be in a 1080 polo, right?
I don't know about that.
Ooh, I don't know. That's another good one. Chances are he's in a 1080 polo, or he's in University of Portland, or possibly Hillsboro Hops gear.
Well, based on his judgment with the table skirt, I'm guessing he's wearing UP gear,
or possibly like a old hoopla. Let's not discount that.
The Salem Hoopla.
The Salem Hoopla, or maybe like some sort of radiothon, like the Special Olympics hat. No one loves free stuff more than Swag. So let's just hope that he's wearing. Do we even have 1080 The Fan polos anymore?
No.
Well, he probably does.
We had a bunch of them back in the day, but it's probably some homeless guy wearing mine. I took him to Goodwill.
I think Jeff Austin still wears his from time to time. I see that on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll show up at a golf tournament wearing the fan.
Well, I was listening to
shirt.
Danny and Dusty yesterday, and they were talking some Big Ten football. And it was an interesting conversation. They were talking about really the most interesting aspect of these West Coast teams joining the Big Ten, and that is just the style differences.
Yeah.
And how cool that's going to be to see, what that does to the Big Ten, how the Pac-12 teams adjust to the Big Ten, and how the Big Ten teams adjust to the Pac-12 team. I mean, Dan Lanning said it. He came out and he said, look, the Pac-12 has the skill guys and the quarterbacks. The Big Ten has the big hog mollies. I believe he called them fatties.
don't think that's what he said.
No,
but-
he didn't. And then the SEC has both. The SEC has it all.
And that's why the SEC is the best conference.
And that's what he said. And so it is true. Like when you think of Big Ten football, you think of big fronts.
Yeah.
And
bad weather in November, running the football.
running the football. So then
Iowa punts.
So I was listening to Danny and Dusty talk about this, and I got to thinking, and as I was driving in my car, and I thought, wow, what if Oregon goes in there and just like I kept thinking about the Civil War a couple years ago, where Oregon State basically said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run the ball, and then we're going to run it again, and then we're going to run it again. And then we're going to run it again and again and again and again. We're never going to throw it, and we're going to come back from 80 down and beat you. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Well, I got thinking about that going, oh, my God, Oregon State and that team, in fairness, they had a really good run game and a really good offensive line. But they basically Big Ten the S out of Oregon to win that Civil War game.
100%.
And so I thought, well, is Oregon really ready for this? So I had to go do some digging on some numbers.
Sure.
Okay. And the answer to the question, is Oregon ready for the Big Ten, is very likely yes. Because I was going back to what Oregon State did to Oregon a few years ago, just running it down their throat. And then I was thinking about Michigan last year and how Michigan beat Penn State. Basically, J.J. McCarthy didn't throw the ball in the second half.
Yeah.
They just said, hey, we're just going to run it down your throat. Stop it. Well, I looked up Penn State. They had the number 1 rush defense in the nation last year. The number 1 rush defense in the nation. And Michigan just said, stop it. You cannot stop our run.
No.
That's crazy.
Well, and also, too, that you're able to do that when the other team can't score. Like, there's 2 components to that. Yes, running the ball down someone's throat is grand and bleeding clock, but you also have your defense bow your back. So, if you're trying to run the ball like that, but you're trailing by 10 points in the game, that doesn't work. That's the Iowa thing. When Iowa's able to drag you into a slugfest, great, but Iowa also gets their ass kicked when the other team can score against you. So,
well, they have a good defense, though.
And that's why Michigan won a national championship, is Michigan's offense was there when they needed it. We saw that. We saw that in the first half against Washington.
But I think with Iowa, I think that's the fun part about watching these West Coast schools in the Big Ten, is how will those offenses look again consistently week in and week out against the Iowas and the Michigans and the Wisconsin defenses.
Yes, absolutely.
It's going to be awesome. But then on the other side, so I was looking at that. Penn State had the number 1 rush defense in the country. They got torched by Michigan's run, but you're right. They also couldn't move the ball. The second fun fact I looked up was, do you know who the highest ranked Big Ten team in rush yards per game was last year? Because you think of all they do is run the ball.
Yeah, I would assume Michigan. I mean,
it was not.
Was it?
No. It was Nebraska, and they were 34th in the country.
That was the best rushing attack, huh?
Yes, in the entire league.
Well, that surprises me a bit.
So this idea that the Big Ten, oh my God, the rushing attacks, it wasn't that wasn't the case last year. Fun fact number 3 is that Oregon last year would have been 3rd in the Big Ten in rush offense. They were ahead of Michigan.
Wow.
Oregon was.
I wouldn't have necessarily thought that, but Oregon, and that's the other one I think that is a misnomer about Oregon over the last handful of years. Dude, Oregon runs the ball. They ran the ball under Mario Cristobal. They certainly run it under Dan Lanning.
Well, they do, but again, I think there's a difference between running the ball in the Pac-12 and running the ball in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
That's the whole fun of this.
Yeah.
So the last fact is CBS Sports did a ranking of each unit in the Big Ten. Do you care to guess who has the number 1 offensive line in the Big Ten this year?
I'm guessing Oregon.
It's Oregon.
Yeah.
So the idea of, is Oregon ready for the Big Ten because of, the big offensive lines, the big defensive fronts, running the football? The answer is yes.
Yeah, it is.
They're 100% ready, which is why they're picked to be second to Ohio State in the league.
And most people are picking Ohio State to win a national championship. And I mean, both teams, by the way, are picked to make the college football playoff. And that's something that they've talked about with Lanning when people say, and I totally get it, again, why is Lanning being considered as one of the elite coaches? He hasn't won anything, and those are all totally fair. It's more of, I think people look at what he took over and what he's building, especially along the lines. Their defensive line and their offensive line are both going to be really good.
Yeah.
And they've killed it in the transfer portal at both of those spots to fill in, and then they've recruited really well.
Well, but this is the fun of going to the Big Ten, is that while their offensive line and defensive lines are both really good, they had Oregon the number 1 offensive line in the Big Ten. They had Oregon the number 4 defensive line in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is they will be tested by 2 of the better offensive lines and defensive lines in the country in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
When they play Ohio State, well, actually, the Michigan game is really. We're kind of overlooking that game because everybody wants to talk about Ohio State coming to Eugene.
First, and it's in Eugene, yeah.
But that Michigan game, November 2nd, at the Big House, is the number 1 offensive line versus the number 1 defensive line.
Yeah.
That's Oregon's offensive line against Michigan's defensive line. Dude, that is going to be a battle.
And I know it's it's not the same group because so many left for the NFL, but I think we all remember Michigan's defensive line just absolutely hammering both Alabama and UW in last year's playoffs. I mean, that line was really, really special. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, but I just don't think that Oregon is going to get overwhelmed. I know some people are like, well, Oregon's going to lose 4 games, and it's a rude awakening. I think they'll be fine.
Well, I don't know about overwhelmed. They have too much talent to be overwhelmed, but I do think it will be an interesting transition with the styles of play in this league and the weather as the season progresses to see how Oregon handles that.
It is true. Like we always talk about the only real place that's problematic is early in the season in Arizona. Those are hot, but those are always night games. But it's hot playing down in the desert early in the season. And then there's only one treacherous road trip, and that is late in the season up in Pullman. And the Big Ten is littered with those. If you think Pullman in November is hard, wait till you go to Camp Randall and you go to some of these other places. So, I mean, Michigan, late in the year, it will be a different style. And again, that's where it comes in. It behooves you to be physical. And I think that's the idea in the Big Ten. It's the same thing when you play, in some of the northern cities in the NFL. You have to be able to be physical and run the ball because throwing the ball is challenging late in the year. And I think this Oregon team is uniquely built to hit the ground running, as opposed to maybe some of the other versions of it. Because it may be known as a real flashy kind of, like hive. What did you say? Like it's all flash, no substance. But when you look at the history of Oregon, look at their old linemen and the running backs that they have produced over the last 15 years.
Well, I think too that's gotten a lot better.
Yes.
With Lanning. Lanning comes from the SEC. He
knows.
And it's been building, but when Chip had this thing rolling, they're way better in the trenches now than they were then.
Yes.
And that's part of you got to give Cristobal
credit.
Some credit for that.
Because
Lanning has built upon that.
Yes. Cristobal came in and said specifically, dude, we need to get better up front because he also came from the SEC.
Yeah.
And Lanning is built upon
And he was an offensive lineman. He recruited some offensive, but Lanning has added to that, and they are just way better suited against the big boys of college football now than they ever were.
Yes.
Which is why everyone has such faith in them. But I just think it's going to be interesting, the week in and week out stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, Ohio State, Michigan, but you also play at Wisconsin. Illinois, Maryland. I'm not saying these teams are going to beat you, but look, even in the Pac-12, you would have close games. They played a close game with Washington State last year.
Yep.
Is that any different than than Illinois?
Well, and we've had this conversation with Joey. We can go back and forth on which one is the tougher run, and now you kind of get to see it, right? Like you don't get to see Arizona, you don't get to see Utah, but you do get to see Wisconsin, and you get to see, Purdue, or you get to see Illinois or Northwestern, or any of these schools, and it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I am really excited to just see. See different teams.
Yeah, it's the styles.
The styles.
That's the fun of it, I think, is the styles make fights, and just the flash and the skill of the Pac-12 meeting up with and marrying the big fronts of the Big Ten and the little bit more smash mouth physical football. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
And by the way, if Wisconsin goes, because you're in Wisconsin, if Wisconsin, bullies you around, then that's going to be a bit of a wake-up call. And by the way, that very well could happen.
But that's later in the year.
It's later in the year. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe that does happen. And then you have to take a step back and be like, man, we need to reevaluate that. Which is why it's so fun going into the season, because there's so many unknowns. We just don't know how the stylistically these things are gonna line up.
Well, I'll give you the rest of the CBS Sports did the Big Ten position and coach rankings for 2024. all 18 teams. And we'll see where Oregon ranked in each one when we return. But first, Buck with SportsCenter.
This is a Big Ten Media Week edition.
Did not hit a home run.
No, he did not.
But the Pirates have tied it up.
Yeah. So Skeens will be off the hook. I can't imagine he's going to pitch in the ninth. They haven't even let him pitch into the ninth with no hitters.
I think his pitch count's really low tonight, though. It's only like 91, so maybe.
So Skeens right now with a no decision.
So CBS Sports ranked QB, skill position, O-line, D-line, linebacker, DB, and coach for each Big Ten team. As we mentioned, Oregon is the number 1 offensive line in the Big Ten. Ohio State 2, Penn State 3. QB, Oregon, number 1.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel.
Well, there's not a lot of, when you look at the Big Ten, I mean, Ohio State, who's being picked to win the national championship by a lot of places. I mean, Will Howard, who was a good quarterback at Kansas State, but it's not Joe Burrow or anything. I mean,
he's not even number 2.
Michigan's got a brand new one.
Who's Michigan's quarterback?
They got that young kid. I mean, there could be multiple that play. He's got a little bit of a weird name.
They've got Aiden Childs ahead of him.
Yeah, Aiden Childs at Michigan State, so he's a freshman. Well, I guess is he a redshirt freshman? So
Yes.
I don't think he burned his. I don't think he burned a year in the few games he played. So obviously him coming over from Oregon State. Gosh, I keep forgetting the Michigans. I just had it in front of me.
It's a kid named Kurt Campbell. Oh no, that's the offensive coordinator. Never mind.
No, it's not Campbell.
Trying to find out too.
Buck in his $7 shorts over there.
That's right.
Did you know Buck's wearing $7 shorts?
That's right.
Where do you buy $7 shorts?
Guess. We've
Where do
talked
you
about
think?
this. Where do you think?
Oh, did you buy Costco shorts?
I sure did, and they're fantastic.
He loves them.
Oh, for God's sakes! No, it's Alex Orji.
Whoa.
And that may be, it's ORJI. But
How else would you say that though?
Is his name Orgy? Alex Orgy?
Or he?
Yeah, and he's a big kid. He like Cam Newton size. He's like 6'3", 230.
I bet he sucks.
Dual threat kid out of Texas. So I think he's won the job or is expected to win the job, but there could be others that go.
So they've got Michigan 9th at quarterback. So the top quarterback is Oregon, 2 Penn State, Drew Aller, and 3 Ohio State.
Well, and that's another one too, in that Aller was supposed to be like last year. The idea was that the only thing Penn State has lacked is a big time quarterback, and Aller was this 5-star kid. He sucked. I don't know if anyone watched him play, but every time I tuned into Penn State, he was terrible, including that game against Michigan where Michigan refused to throw the ball because they didn't have to because Penn State could do nothing. So maybe he has a breakout year, but dude, he was not some sort of phenom last year. And so the quarterback play in the Big Ten is not great. So that's one thing that with USC and with Oregon and UW coming over, when you look at the history of quarterback play, the Big Ten better adjust because there's real quarterbacks that are coming from the West. UCLA, maybe not so much.
Skill positions, Oregon, number 1 in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Ohio State, 2, Penn State, 3. We mentioned offensive line. Defensive line, Oregon ranks 4th. The top defensive line in the league is Ohio State. Number 2, Michigan. Number 3, Penn State. Then you get to linebacker. Oregon ranks 5th.
Yeah, that would probably, if you're looking at a weak spot on the Oregon defense, it would be at linebacker.
Number 1, Iowa.
Well, again, no surprise there. I'm surprised Iowa's not higher because their defense is good every single year.
Number 2, Penn State. 3, Ohio State. Then you go to DB, and Oregon is 4th. Ohio State 1st, followed by Iowa, and then Michigan. And then last is coach, and they have Ryan Day number 1, Dan Lanning number 2.
So Lanning ahead of like James Franklin. And while I do like Dan Lanning, that's where
might be a little too much.
I think some of that Lanning stuff is a bit much. I really like Dan Lanning.
They don't even have James Franklin 3rd.
Who do they have as 3rd? Are you going Ferentz? Are you going Bielema?
Lincoln Riley?
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
And by the way, yeah, I know some of the shines come off Lincoln Riley. He hasn't been terrible at USC, and he was really good at Oklahoma, although I think there's some pressure. The next year or two for USC is pretty big because USC is kind of an afterthought right now.
Something seems like it's not right there. They're complaining about not being able to get recruits. It's like, do you guys not have money? Why?
It hasn't been great. And now you're going into the Big Ten, and I think they were picked 5th, right, in the Big Ten media polls, if I'm not mistaken.
USC was 6th, I think.
They were 6th?
They were behind Iowa.
So, that's not that's not where you want to be. Like if you're USC and like you were going to make this big splash and you didn't want Oregon to join the Big Ten, and now Oregon's in the Big Ten and they're taking all your thunder. I just think it's a weird time at USC. And I'm not saying that Lincoln Riley is on a hot seat or anything, but I think this is a pretty big year for him. Because if you go into the Big Ten and you get drubbed and you end up finishing, I don't know, let's say you end up 8-4 or something like that, I just not certain how long the goodwill at USC is going to be built up. Because you just had supposedly this generational player and Heisman Trophy winner in Caleb Williams, and it really didn't lead to a whole lot of anything. Got your ass kicked in the Pac-12 title game 2 years ago by Utah.
Your defense has been an absolute sieve. You're ripping through coordinators.
Yeah, and now you go out and you spend this money. You go out and get UCLA's coordinator, and supposedly everything was going to change, but you can't get any defensive recruits now. They seem to be leaving in spades. And you're going into the Big Ten, and again, you're an afterthought. So just keep an eye on that.
Problem for Jonathan Smith, his offensive line ranks 15th in the league, and his defensive line 16th.
The only thing I'll say about Jonathan Smith at Michigan State is what he did at Oregon State. He does that at Michigan State. They're going to be a tough out in a couple of years. Michigan State has way more resources. It's a better recruiting bed, and Michigan State has been a proven winner. People forget that when you look through the Big Ten championships over the last 15 years, the one outlier in there is Michigan State that did it 3 times.
They popped up there a lot.
Dude, Michigan State had a run there under D'Antonio. That was a sneaky good program. I mean, they bitch slapped Michigan. They owned Michigan for like 6 years, where they were the big brother in that matchup. And then it kind of fell off a little bit, and he lost some coordinators, and and obviously they've gone a different direction. But dude, Michigan State has resources. So just Jonathan Smith, much like he did at Oregon State, got no fanfare, no nothing, and he just kind of built that thing and built that thing and built that thing. And by the way, he beat Dan Lanning, with a team that was inferior to him. So don't write off. In fact, I was looking at some Big Ten predictions. Someone had like 10 storylines, and they called it flat out. They said that Michigan State is going to beat one of the big 3.
Oh.
There's a caller shot right now. It said all Jonathan Smith does is win games that he shouldn't win and build good programs. And he's got Aiden Childs, and it's a transfer portal heavy roster, which is what happened with Mel Tucker. Brought in a lot of transfers, and they just said Michigan State's not going to be great, but that's one of their predictions is they'll get a pelt on the wall. So don't sleep on Jonathan Smith at Michigan State. I know everyone loves to make fun of him for leaving Oregon State, but there's a reason why he left. Michigan State is an underrated program. Michigan State's a lot closer to Wisconsin than it is to Oregon State.
Boy, this scene in Pittsburgh is wild. Skeens is in there in the 9th. They just threw out a guy trying to stretch to a double at second, although I think he was safe. But he's at 97 pitches, and he's pitching the crowd's going nuts. It's a cool game.
Well, Skeens
tied 1-1.
And Skeens is one of those guys now that whether it's your team or not, like the other team cheers for him.
Yeah.
Like Skeens is must-see TV.
Yeah,
he's safe.
He's safe
100%.
for sure. If you're wondering about Washington real quick, they're ranking all 18 teams in the Big Ten. Washington's best rank is 5th at QB.
Yeah.
And they're about middle of the pack everywhere else, 9th in coach.
See, that's another one, too, that I find weird. So Will Rogers, who is one of the all-time career leaders, if not, I think he might be the all-time leading passing leader, yards-wise, in the SEC. He's 5th?
Yeah, they got him 5th. USC 4th.
So they got Aiden Childs ahead of...
No, Childs was 8th.
Oh, Childs was 8th.
Yeah.
So that's...
So it goes Oregon, Oregon, Penn State,
yeah.
Ohio State, USC, and Washington.
See, that's silly that you have Drew Aller over Will Rogers. It's just incorrect. That's just dumb. All that is you're saying he was a 5-star kid and he plays at Penn State, therefore he's a better quarterback, because it's just not true.
And then UCLA, terrible. I mean, they're bottom of the barrel at pretty much everything.
Well, I mean, the dirty little secret is, dude, Chip Kelly tanked that program on purpose out of spite. I mean, I know it's a weird thing to say, but it's the truth.
He wanted out so bad he just stopped doing his job.
Yes, he quiet quit at UCLA, making whatever it was, like $6 million a year. And Ryan Day came out today and said that he trusts Chip Kelly with his life.
What a quote! I heard that too. I'm like, wait. I mean, you don't have to go that far, do you?
No, I'll tell you what. I mean,
you guys shut up.
I mean, I guess he trusts Ryan Day, but hopefully Chip doesn't get disinterested, because I've never seen a coach quiet quit like that. I mean, we've seen coaches quit. Look at Gary Anderson, but to just stop recruiting, to just stop and be like, no, I'm not doing this.
Shut up.
While interviewing for every job. I mean, he left UCLA in shambles. And it's not like UCLA, by the way, has ever, like, when's the last time UCLA was really relevant? I mean, maybe Mora, winning 8-9 games a year and getting your ass kicked in a Pac-12 title game.
I thought Dorian Thompson-Robinson won 10 games at one point.
Maybe with a bowl game.
Yeah.
And Jim Mora won like 9 games for like 3 years in a row. Dude, UCLA is not a traditionally great program, and now you're going into the Big Ten, and you have to split some of your money with Cal. Remember, you got to write that check. So
Chip never won 10 there.
No. So I feel bad for UCLA. UCLA is just going to go in there, and they were an afterthought in the Pac-12. They're going to be an afterthought in the Big Ten.
All right. We will wrap up Big Ten Media Day talk coming up next on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report. The inside.
Tomorrow, too early to get to some Big Ten football betting lines? Probably not.
Not at all.
Let's go.
Never.
That'll be tomorrow. But we're out of time now. So, F off.
Sorry, I was busy.
What are you doing over there?
Oh, someone was trying to defend
You looking
Drew
at $7
Aller,
shorts?
And no. What brand are those, by the way? Are those the Spider brand at Costco?
Couldn't begin to tell you. Not Spider. I would have to take them off and look. I don't know.
Let's take them off.
Good old,
I can do that. Everything's
Take 'em
above the
off.
waist in here.
Take them off for YouTube, man.
I can.
Give the people what they want.
I will.
Oh, I had someone defending Drew Aller, and I had to go back.
Drew Aller.
Yeah, let me just point out that because someone he threw 25 touchdowns to 2 interceptions last year.
He did?
Yeah,
oh, that's pretty good.
Let me point out in their 3 losses, which by the way were the only 3 good teams they played all year. I guess if you want to give them the win over Iowa, although Iowa scored 0 points. And Drew Aller threw for 166 yards in that game. But against Ole Miss.
That's good in the Big Ten.
That's good in the Big Ten. How's this grab you? 19 for 39. That's 48% completion percentage. 2 touchdowns and a pick. Against Michigan, how does a 10 of 22 grab you? That do a whole lot? Care to guess how many yards he threw for in that Michigan game?
7.
86.
70 yards. And then in the loss to Ohio State, where their defense held them to 20 points, how's 18 of 42 grab you for a whopping 191 yards?
Isn't his thing that he's like, isn't he like, who was the stupid Penn State quarterback a couple years ago that Trent Dilfer loved?
Trace McSorley?
Trace McSorley?
No.
McSorley was a little dude that ran around.
No.
He was a big old guy.
He was, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Hackenberg.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Christian Hackenberg.
People fall in love with they're the prototype. Like
Yes.
Allard is like 6'5".
Yeah, he's a big 6'5", 240.
Big arm. That was the way Hackenberg was. And that guy was terrible. He was terrible in college, terrible in the NFL.
I never understood it. I don't know what it is with Penn State quarterbacks where you try to make them better than they are. So, like, he brought up, like, I'm sorry, go look at Will Rogers' numbers at Mississippi State and tell me that Drew Aller's better. And like I said, maybe he has a breakout year. But I was told last year that this was the final piece to Penn State's puzzle and that Drew Aller was the quarterback that was going to put him over the hump. And I'm sorry, but in those 3 games, which were the only 3 games that mattered, he did nothing. And I mean nothing. The only other game that they played against a ranked team was Iowa, which, again, they won 31-0. He threw for 166 yards. So, pardon me if I don't buy that Drew Aller is the answer to Penn State's needs at quarterback. This is when you're at Penn State, and this is the same thing at Oregon, when you're at Michigan, you're at Ohio State, I only judge you off of 3 games, which is why I was a little like Heisman trophies and sometimes numbers can be overinflated when you play at these schools. Like if you're at LSU and you throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns against Vanderbilt, and then you do it against South Carolina, but the 3 games you play against Alabama, Georgia, and I don't know, Tennessee, you don't win those games, I don't care what you do the rest of the time. You're at certain schools, you are there not to beat the Indianas and the Iowas of the world. You're there to beat Ohio State. And I think that's like a Dylan Gabriel thing. Like if you're Oregon and Dylan Gabriel runs roughshod over the Big Ten, but he doesn't show up against Ohio State and Michigan, what do you think of Dylan Gabriel? I expect more out of quarterbacks when you're supposedly a top 10 team in the country.
Well, Skeens gave it up. Cardinals lead 2-1.
Yeah.
In the top of the 9th. They pulled him.
You wonder if he should have been in the top of the 9th.
Well, he finished with 104 pitches.
Most of the season, right?
What?
He hasn't had 100 pitches all year, has he?
Oh, I don't know.
Because they yanked him a couple times with no hitters.
Yeah, I think he had 99 the last no hitter that they pulled him, but I don't think he's gone over 100.
But in this instance, he gave up the run, and so they were like, all right, you're done. So Cardinals 2-1. And they're headed to the bottom of the 9th.
And during this conversation, I did take my pants off in here. I checked the label, and I'm wearing Glacier performance shorts. So when I go hiking around glaciers, I'll be
Someone was hoping
outfitted.
they were Hang 10
They're not
shorts
Hang
from Costco.
10s?
They're not. They're Glacier performance.
Glacier Performance, $6.99. That's how Costco gets you.
Yeah.
I tried to see if they're still on Costco.com. No, they are not.
You
Out
can't
of
afford
stock.
not to buy them. They're so cheap.
That's right. Very comfortable.
He loves them.
I do.
You know what I love? The Mets being up on the Yankees.
Well,
3-1,
I was
bitch.
tailgating him to the bathroom.
Yeah.
They do look nice.
Yeah, look really nice.
I was
nice
looking
pair
at
of
his
shorts.
butt.
Yeah, they framed it just right.
Yeah. The dad bod's looking good in those $7 shorts.
I got a solid lower half, and these fit just right. I got a solid upper half, too.
Look, Buck's all man. That's all you need to know. That's this confident man right there in his Hang 10 shorts, his Subaru Outback.
Glacier performance.
It's funnier with Hang 10.
I know.
Maybe some body glove.
I don't think there's anything performance about those.
They're performing on these thighs.
No, they're not.
Those milky white thighs are going to perform tonight when his wife sees them.
Hey-oh.
All right, we've got, so we've got virus news.
Oh.
And rethinking how life on Earth began.
I've been doing this a lot lately.
Scientists.
Aliens.
So we'll get to that next. 6 o'clock on the Fan.
Those scientists better check their hypotenuses, dude.
Summer is here. Time to prepare.
You can also get the power snatch. No. Get on your knees. It's wonderful. The largest penis in the world, and the dude pops up. I love dominators.
Take that L on the way out.
I don't know if this is racist, but it probably is. Have you ever had a grown man take your pants off? I give you 2 dudes swallowing wieners.
America, yeah! Fat, uneducated beer, yeah, flags, yeah, trucks, balls, yeah! Screwed, being learned people, no!
I can squirt or suck, yes. Oh, for God's sakes.
God, you are
Bravo! That was great.
Thank you.
Good grief. I have never had a grown man take off my $7 shorts. And I can squirt from a distance.
Yeah.
Spit on that thing.
This show's gross.
It really is.
By the way, Deal said, you know what happens? Those Glacier shorts get a little snug in 10 years. Buckley, you can just return them right to Costco for $6.99.
That's right.
That's the beauty of Costco. They'll take anything back.
Also, the beauty of $6.99 shorts, when they wear out, I can just throw them away and not feel a thing.
Yeah, you shouldn't take back
I'm not going to take back these shorts.
$7 shorts.
As my Midwestern grandmother would say, use them up, wear them out, make them do without.
Don't be that person.
Oh, Grandma.
Grand Joe.
Well, you know, Buckley, that trust fund's running a little thin. You got to pinch some pennies now with the second kid.
Hardworking people from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Now, did you buy those shorts or did your wife buy them for you?
She bought them for me.
Yeah.
She was there picking up groceries.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Oh, no, because I said as soon as my wife brought them home, I put them on. I liked them so much. I went back to Costco to try to get more colors, and they were sold out.
You want those Glacier Performance, man.
They're the most comfortable $7 shorts that you could possibly find. I feel strong about that.
They look nice.
Yeah.
Not going to lie.
Is it an athletic short? Or like what?
Sure, I mean, I can come in and model them while we're on the air.
They're more like a golf short.
Okay, let's see Buck taking a spin. Are those below the knee too? We getting some long. I'm interested in seeing what Buckley's got going.
He's coming in here.
Yeah,
it's going to be exciting. Get to see Buck's lower half up close. There they are.
Yeah,
see those?
Buckley on those
Look
bad
at those.
boys. Yeah.
Hot.
It's Glacier Performance. Tasty. You throw those with a quarter zip, and you've got yourself a little outfit right there.
You got yourself a dad day.
Get some white Oakleys, throw those on.
Got my $5 kid-proof Amazon sunglasses that they can put on and break and I won't worry about. My other dad move.
It happens, man. Before you know it,
Buckley.
you just wake up one day and you got yourself a Subaru, a couple kids, a Labradoodle, and some Glacier Performance
Dude,
shorts.
I'm living that dad bod life.
What is the most expensive thing that you own?
My car, probably.
Well, no, I mean, just let me rephrase. What's
something nice?
What have you splurged on the most in your whole life?
My whole life?
Like right now?
I mean, probably tickets to sporting events. I mean, I paid to go to both of the Oregon National Championship games. That was
Yeah, but that's a good
was a
splurge.
pretty penny.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Buck's an experience over things guy.
I am. I spent a lot of money on travel, too.
Yeah.
I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. I will spend money on expensive meals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, food's another one of those. We all have areas where we splurge in areas that we're tied in.
But travel and food more than things, for sure. Experiences more than things.
Now you're getting the best of both worlds with those Glacier Performance.
Yeah, saving money for my vacation and looking good.
Tasty.
That hairy ass has never looked so good.
Not so hairy, actually.
No?
No.
I picture
Prove it.
I picture Buck is a
That
hairy
I
guy.
won't be
Why
proving.
don't you come back in here, Buck?
No, I am hairy in the front, not so much in the back.
Oh, whoa. TMI.
Hey-o.
No, I mean like chest hair.
Else.
Oh.
Got a chest situation going on.
I thought Buck was
That's what,
telling us about his man
I
guard.
thought so too.
No.
A slice of New York pizza down
You know
there.
you can trim that.
A merkin, if you will.
I had to before my vasectomy, remember? You asked me about how I shaved them.
Yeah, that was your balls though.
Yeah. I mean, you don't just do one area, not the other. Otherwise, you're doing some kind of weird
Buck
business in the front, party in the
Buck
back.
had a skullet on his testes. just shave the part that he needed to. Oh, good times. Good times. It looks like Osama bin Laden's beard.
That's disgusting.
What?
What that front could look like.
That front
Gross.
Oh, good times. Good times. Hey, manscaping's become a thing, man. Most
I know.
people, you know.
Got to keep it tight down there.
Yeah, you got to put
Makes it look bigger.
Yeah, you got to present some positive curb appeal
That's
to
right.
the missus.
That's right.
Yeah. Goes both ways.
That's right.
Yeah, when we go on vacation, the missus busts out the wax strips and she does my shoulders and my upper back because that gets a little hairy.
Hey, I bought one of those back shaver things.
Yeah.
Freaking fantastic.
Is it good?
Changes your life. Yes.
Oh.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have that hairy a back, but it really bothers me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to go.
I mostly don't care until I'm somewhere for a week with my shirt off. So.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, we usually don't have our shirts off, but you go to the pool or
Speak
something
for yourself.
It's like
you do live a shirtless lifestyle.
Let's gear down.
I don't know. It's great. It's one of those things you see on.
It's got like the long handle.
It's long handle, and you just.
Was it on one of those like made for TV like infomercial thing
I don't
purchases?
know.
It is weird. I don't know why this is, because the BTJ, the special lady friend, she has no problem. She loves, she waxes my nose. She loves to pick at things, but she will not shave my back. She gets all pissy about it.
You should get one of these.
Yeah, I don't know, and
I'd like to know about this product.
I don't know why.
I'll get you the name brand. I don't remember it.
I'll be like, will you shave my? I'm like, will you just shave my back? She goes, no, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, why? She goes, I hate when you do it. I'm like, why? She goes, why does it bother you? I'm like, because it bothers me. I got like angel wings. I'm like, can you just take a quick lap around there? I got the little clippers. I don't know why, of all things, she gets mad at me when I shave my back. It's such a strange issue to have. Why would you want someone to have a hairy back? I've yet to figure this out, and she's yet to give me an answer to it. Very strange.
That is odd.
It is odd. It's a weird hill to die on, because she loves everything else. She's constantly picking ear hair and eyebrows and loves waxing the nose, which, by the way, I'm telling you, you want wax your nose, game changer. Feels amazing. You just get up in there and rip that sucker out. Whew, clean as a whistle. Big fan.
My wife picks at me like a monkey, too.
Exactly.
It's so weird.
Yep. You can feel it kind of harden, and then you just yank.
That's you talking about nose wax.
Let's see if I can find the... I can't find it.
Yeah, I've seen, though. I know what you're talking about.
Thing?
Is it electric, or is it...
No.
So it's an actual razor?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of scares me.
It's got blades.
Yeah, that worries me.
You have to replace the blades pretty often.
Or you just ripping up your own back?
You ever slice open a lat there?
No, but I've had... You certainly have to do it once or twice to kind of get the... You know.
That makes me...
Looking like you wrestled a cougar?
I've choked a cougar.
It happens. That makes me very, very nervous. That kind of... I thought we were going electric.
No. They have electric ones.
Electric, you had me. Why not? I'm just thinking about just taping my my little body hair clippers. I'll just tape them to like a broom handle. Get back there. Just do it myself.
Oh, you could.
MacGyver that thing.
Yeah, just make my own. Throw some duct tape on there. And then she'll walk in and get mad at me. And then I'll be like, well, do you want to do it? And she'll be like, no. And yeah, she'll still get mad at me for trying to do it myself.
Yeah, I think it's just called Backblade.
Yeah.
Backblade 2.0.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Backblade 1.5.
Yeah, that thing sucks. The idea of taking a razor blade across my back when I can't see it.
A little scary.
Boy, yeah.
Yeah, flying blind is the issue for me. Like anywhere else, whatever.
Well, what's the difference in that than an electric one, though?
Well, electric one, you can't cut yourself.
Yeah, you're not going to cut yourself.
It's an electric razor.
No, I've cut myself with an electric beard trimmer before.
I think you might be doing it wrong.
You can cut yourself down below with those.
Oh, that's for sure.
I'll tell you that right now. The stuff gets caught in that thing.
Right in the butt?
Right there.
All right, well, that's a wasted
who had
segment.
that on the bingo card?
Okay, so rethinking how life on Earth began. Serious science news.
Yes.
Next on The Fan. Oh, hey, what's up? It's Rob for Hot science news coming at you fast from your local science bro, me, Rob. I love science. Yeah, science.
Oh, man.
This is pretty cool.
Those scientists better check their hypotenuses, dude.
Science sometimes is a liar.
They're calling this dark oxygen.
Ooh, dark oxygen.
Doesn't that sound ominous?
That does sound ominous.
Well, scientists have discovered these little metallic nodules on the seafloor way down in the ocean.
Oh, I've seen this where they're trying to collect these. I saw a thing on 60 Minutes about this.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I love 60 Minutes. Is that show still on?
It is.
Still doing their thing?
Yeah, and the dude that's wanted to do this, it's all controversial.
Why? Why is this so controversial?
Because he's developed this big giant machine that's just scraping the ocean floor of these things, and some people are like, "Yeah, that's
don't do that."
Yeah, don't do that. And he's like, "What? What do you want?
We have to advance society."
He's like, "It's way under the ocean." Well, he wants the metal for like batteries.
Well, what they're saying is, okay, so that's a little different, but in the darkness of the depths of the Pacific Ocean, scientists have discovered oxygen being produced not by living organisms, but by strange potato-shaped metallic lumps that give off almost as much electricity as AA batteries.
Mm-hmm. And that's why this dude wants to. It's some rich guy like an Elon Musk type, and he wants to go down. He wants to go down there and just rape the ocean floor of these things. And everyone's like, "We're just figuring out what these things are." And he goes, "Yeah, but I want them for batteries." He's like, if we want electric cars, I want these things and screw whatever, other impact it could have.
The surprise finding has many potential implications and could even require rethinking how life first began on Earthworld.
We came up from the little ocean balls?
Maybe. It had been thought that only living things such as plants and algae were capable of producing oxygen via photosynthesis, which requires sunlight, but 4 kilometers, which is 2.5 miles below the surface of the Pacific Ocean, where no sunlight can reach, small mineral deposits called polymetallic nodules have been recorded making so-called dark oxygen for the first time. This is huge, dude.
Yeah.
This is huge news.
Well, and that's
until the rich guys go steal it all.
Yeah, and the article I saw in the USA Today says the modules, which form over 1 million years, are made up of ingredients needed to create batteries: lithium, cobalt, and copper. And mining companies are interested, and by interested, they're just gonna do it.
They're already doing it.
Yeah, they're going down there, and people are like, "Well, no one even owns that," and they're like, "Exactly." So we're just gonna go down there and take it.
So this is like between Hawaii and Mexico. Mining companies have already harvested the nodules, or they've started. They're rich in cobalt, nickel, copper, and they're often called batteries in a rock.
Isn't it great that we just recently discovered something that could fundamentally change the way we think about life?
Yeah.
And our first thing is
batteries.
Let's just grab them and make batteries out of them.
Yeah, our first thing is, hey, we need better batteries for our smartphones. This will be great. Oh, wait, and it started life on Earth.
People are like, shouldn't we wait and see what impact this could have? And we're like, yeah, but we need the batteries now.
Well, that's what the Vancouver Ford text line is saying. One person's in saying, why is this possibly bad? Because 75% of our oxygen comes from decaying plankton in the ocean. If you disrupt even the slightest ecohabitats down in the ocean, it might have catastrophic effects on our oxygen.
Yes,
that would be bad.
But Buckley, phones.
Smartphones, dude.
Smartphones.
Yeah, batteries.
Let's
and
go.
Batteries. Hello.
Another person, Vancouver Ford text line. Yeah, literally nobody knows what the long-term environmental impact of undersea drilling and mining will do, so that's why some people are mixed up about it.
Yeah, the machine it's just a big road grader, and it just goes through and rips up the bottom of the ocean. And someone was like,
"Look, it can't be good.
It can't be." Someone was like, "Do you know what this could do to the ocean floor and anything living down there and fish?" And the best is the rich guy. His whole thing was basically,
screw the learned people. No.
He had no retort to any of it other than I need batteries. So let's go.
Well, you can always just say, well, we don't really know. No one knows anything, so I'm just going to do this until...
That's our answer to everything.
Until it's criminal.
We're slowly cooking the planet. Yeah, but that's some people.
Some science.
It's like 85, 90%, but the other 10% said that this is all just a bunch of liberal BS, Frank. Pay no attention to it.
So does this mean we're related to sharks and sea otters?
Well, it's possible. I mean, there is a belief already that not a belief. We all come from the ocean, little single cell organisms. So are we closer to the little sea otters? And
well, yeah. I mean, I think this is the first time anyone's probably ever thought that life could have started
as a rock.
Yeah, down under the water.
Well, I think it's kind of cool
elsewhere than on land.
That we could, what if we're all just rocks and minerals? I don't know.
You're a rock.
That is pretty cool, though, that dark... And by the way, kudos to whoever came up with the term of dark oxygen.
Yeah, it sounds cool and nefarious.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But don't worry, we're going to steal all the dark oxygen that there is. I just... Because sometimes you see like those like Avatar movies like Captain Planet, and they're so heavy-handed and dumb. Like, there's always like that one evil corporation that just doesn't give a damn about anything, and you're like,
they're just intentionally spilling oil into the oceans, like ha ha ha.
Yeah, and you're like, dude, can we just like lighten up? And then you see some of this, you're like, well, all right, maybe it's not that far off. We recently made this discovery. Should we study it? Nah, let's get batteries out of it. It's kind of cool when you see him down there. Like on the piece, you see him down there chilling.
This should be a bigger news story.
Probably, but there's other things going on like on TikTok right now. So
like green dress woman.
What's happening with green dress?
I don't know.
Woman?
Some I don't know, and I don't care. Green dress girl is trending. TikTok.
The one that I've been seeing lately that I enjoy. It's a guy on rollerblades and he roasts people's mailbox.
He roasts them? Like, what does that mean?
Like, he makes fun of people's mailboxes.
As he rolls on by?
Yeah, he goes around on rollerblades, and he's kind of a disheveled dude with like a big beard. He sweats a lot, and he just rolls around on rollerblades, and then he stops in front of people's mailboxes and roasts them. He does comedy bits about people's mailboxes.
Well, I will say, I kind of like where he's going with that.
Yeah.
I have a very roastable mailbox.
Do you?
Yeah.
What's wrong with your mailbox?
It's terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Why don't you do something about it?
Well, I don't. It's one of those. You know how there's some things that you really care about and other things that you don't.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Well,
about my mailbox.
If my man here roasted your mailbox and it went viral, would you get embarrassed into getting a new mailbox?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
You'd be fine with everyone. What are those to your mailbox?
Yeah. Because they should be doing that. I mean, like, it's a bad mailbox.
Yeah.
It's been there for years.
Well, I told you I had my mailbox thing where my neighbor is, to this day, who's a really nice guy, he hates my mailbox. And he... What are those? For the last, 2.5 years, he has desperately tried to get me to upgrade to his mailbox. And I won't do it because his mailbox is like $350.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is when you start looking into mailboxes... You see the basic ones, and you're like, "Well, I don't want that." And then you keep going north, and you realize how expensive they are, and they're like, "No, this one's fine. Why do I need a nice mailbox?"
I think
why?
I don't think my mailbox is bad. It looks it's plastic.
Well, I mean, some people like them locked, and
yes.
I get that.
I don't have mine.
I got to tell you, you can steal my mail. I don't care.
That's what I said.
There's nothing good in there.
Well, look at my neighbor. I don't like. He's got. I think his is from a company called. So my neighbor, when he moved in across the street, super nice guy. Very helpful, and he's one of these dudes. He wears overalls and suspenders a lot. He's very handy. I think he's an engineer. He's an older fella, and he's always he's always rocking suspenders as if he's ready to jump into action. And he's got one of those garages that's great because no matter what you need an air compressor, he's got you. Like I went over to borrow a ladder once. He's like, "Oh yeah, which one do you want?" He's got them organized by size. He's that dude. And so when he moved in, he said, "Hey, do you mind if I put in a new mailbox?" Because my mailbox is across the street. And on my street, we only have a sidewalk on one side. So the sidewalk is on his side of the street, and that's where the mailbox is. So I have to walk across the street to get mine. And he said, "Hey, I want to put in one mailbox post because ours used to be on two separate posts side by side." And he goes, "I want to get a post with where you can put two." And I was like, "Sure." And by the way, he put in a post that could survive a nuclear blast. It's like solid, like steel, and it's like in the ground, like 9 feet. It's ridiculous. I don't know why he needs a post that much to put up his mailbox, but he did. And he said, hey, this is the mailbox I'm putting in. I can get you one, and then you can just pay me back for it. And I was like, oh, all right. And then I looked it up. It's like 300. It was 350, maybe $375. And I was like, oh, no. And it's called Fort Knox. You can look them up. It's this giant mailbox, locked. It's insane. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And I said,
Locked,
can you just
cocked, ready to rock.
I said, can you just put mine?
Yeah, like why?
Can you just put mine on the post? And the look of anger and disgust on his face. And to this day, and he tried talking me into it like multiple different times. He even offered to like defer some of the costs. He's like, well, you can pay me in installments if you want. And I'm like, it's not I don't need a payment plan for a mailbox. I'm just not buying it. And to this day, I think every time he goes out or sees me go out to the mailbox, he has a look of disappointment on his face. That his beautiful mailbox has to sit next to my like 1999 plastic one.
You're not on his level.
No.
And he knows it.
No.
It's like the microcosmic version of having the messy yard or all the extra cars parked out front. It's like he takes so much pride in his, he looks at yours with disdain and disgust.
I guess I don't really, do people get important mail that they really can't have stolen? Like, that's a...
Also, who's walking up to mailboxes, opening them, and stealing letters? Is that a thing that happens?
Well, talk to my neighbor. He gets very sensitive about it. Because he's got the Fortress from Fort Knox, and that's going to run you $460, which is insane to me. He offered to get the Fort Knox M1 for me for the low price of $350. Knock $100 off of that? No. I went with the Amazon. Plastic one. It was $19.99. It looks fine.
I think mine's even better than that.
Well,
I have the old metal one.
Well, see, I think the plastic one looks better than that because the metal one gets beat up and rusty. Mine doesn't dent.
Mine's rusted, dented.
No.
The red flag kind of doesn't work.
Yeah.
The post is old and rotting.
You wouldn't rot on this post.
It's hot.
You could run over it. If you ran into his mailbox, or I guess my mailbox with a car, it would mess up your car more than it would mess up that post. Which, again, it does fascinate me that he takes such pride in his mailbox. Because I've never once thought about my mailbox, but he does. And maybe that's an old man thing. As you get older, do you take more pride in your mailbox?
I think that's the thing. Everywhere the olds live in my neighborhood, they've thought about their mail. They have a setup. They have a thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I think mail means more to them.
Why?
Because they're from that era. They're from the era where mail was important. Mail is not important anymore.
No.
I mean, generally.
No.
And I think they come from an era where snail mail was the balls.
I guess.
You know?
Yeah.
Y'all got dressed up, held hands, ran out to the mailbox together.
Something to the ball.
See what's in the mail today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the olds they still have a soft spot for snail mail.
Well, I really enjoy the show. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
It's mine. Look, it's right there.
That looks like mine.
Yeah.
But that's plastic.
Yeah, it's plastic. It's got a little eagle on the front of it. It says U.S. Mail. You know.
I'm judging you. Your mailman's probably disgusted. Or mailwoman.
I guess. Oh, I know he is. And I do kind of feel bad about it because he's such a nice guy. And he always says hi to me, and he's always willing to help. And he's just, I feel like I should do him a solid and get the Fort Knox mailbox because he would be so happy. And he would install it. He's offered many times. I can't ever imagine buying a mailbox for $300 to $400. I think that purchase would haunt me forever.
What do you think would happen if you just got rid of your mailbox?
Interesting.
What would they do?
Try to slide it under your door or just stack it on your front porch?
No, I don't think they would do that. I think the mailman would just keep the mail and put it at the
base of where.
No. He'd put it at the mail where he picks up all his mail.
Huh.
The mail.
Oh,
what do you call that?
Get it at the post office?
The post office.
Yeah.
He would just put it there.
They would just hold it.
And then you would have to go pick it up.
Although I think that eventually they would make you get a P.O. box.
Would they?
Yeah, because you can only put your mail on hold temporarily. I don't think you could do that.
Well, I'm not putting it on hold. I just don't have a mailbox.
You have blown my mind.
The
with
ball's
this.
in their court.
That's kind of a conundrum for everybody else if you just decide I'm not doing it. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't play by these reindeer games. I don't have a mailbox. Now what? With your red tomato flyers. What are you going to do with those, mail guy?
I don't know.
Give them to my neighbor.
I don't know. Would they just put it in your neighbor's mailbox and be like, hey, disseminate that?
No, I'm guessing they just put it at the post office. But then the question is what does the post office do after a certain amount of time? Your mail's piling up? They're like,
return
what
to sender permanently?
What is up with this guy?
You know what? So my jiu-jitsu gym is right next to a mail processing center, and there's postal workers. I'm going to ask.
Yeah, ask them.
I'm gonna be like, excuse me, miss. What would happen if I just got rid of my mailbox? No, not turn off my mail. I went and removed my mailbox. I'm interested to know from a professional postal worker's standpoint, what would they do?
I'm Googling it real quick. Oh, should we break? All right. Did you see how much Celine Dion's making for her big comeback performance?
Comeback performance? She's had a seizure recently. I thought she was dying. She's got some weird,
No.
She is having major seizure issues. She had a documentary come out about it.
Yeah, I thought she was dying.
No, she's going to perform.
Oh.
One song.
Oh, really?
Yep.
All right.
You want to guess how much she's going to make for that?
I'm guessing. But I'm guessing it's the Titanic song, is it not?
No. Well, maybe, but I doubt it.
I mean, you have one song to sing if you're Celine Dion. Don't you have to pick?
No,
My Heart Will Go On?
No, she's singing at the Olympics.
I still think she has to sing My Heart Will Go On. There's no other song she could sing. It's Celine Dion. That's like the only song that matters.
Yeah, but I don't think that is what they really want at the Olympics.
I think that's what they want. What else is she singing?
All by myself.
She doesn't really have Olympic level, sort of things.
Do you believe in life
That's
after
Cher.
love? I know.
I hate that
What if she
song
sings that?
so much.
Celine Dion comes out of retirement to have one performance and she sings Cher?
Yeah, she doesn't really have a very Olympic-friendly catalog. I
No.
read My Heart Will Go On, The Power of Love, To Love You More, I Love You, A New Day Has Come, Beauty and the Beast, I'm Alive, It's All Coming Back to Me, All by Myself.
See, I'm guessing she doesn't sing one of her songs. She probably just sings a song that's more Olympic appropriate.
But not an anthem?
Or maybe an anthem, right.
I think that...
I mean, doesn't she have French... they're in Paris.
She does have a
French-Canadian.
French song that was released in 95.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be something like
Couple
that.
of them,
I think
actually.
her dead husband was French, but he's dead. I think. I still think it's going to be My Heart Goes On.
Set My Heart on Fire.
Nah, it's doing the Titanic theme.
Je sais pas.
Je sais pas. Well, I'll tell you what she's making to perform that one song. Next. Is that a cliffhanger or what?
It is, I liked it.
Isn't that crazy? Here's Buck with SportsCenter.
This is a Big Ten Media Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
says right here, Vancouver Fort text line, Dad never misses the mail. Reminds us every day to check it. Goes through it methodically.
Yeah, my dad too. It's a really weird thing with the olds, man.
I at any given time have, I'd probably say 15 pieces of unopened mail on my desk. And then like once every, I don't know, week, I'll sort through there and 99% of it's just garbage I can throw away.
Don't you do? I mean, you don't even have to like most of mine. You don't even have to open.
No, you
it's
see
just
it.
I know what it
offers
is,
or some siding company or whatever. Although I often wonder, my my friend owns a liquor business, and whenever I go into his car, he has his mail in the bag. It sits back there, and it's the damnedest thing in that.
Wow.
I'd say on average, when you get back there, he probably has 200 pieces of mail.
Well, he owns a business, though.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
And it throws me for a loop because
that's probably important.
That's kind of my thing. I'm like,
why are you leaving it in your car?
Well, yeah. And and it's always this very nonchalant, like you would think it'd be like in a bundle, like with a rubber band or whatever. But it was almost as if he just takes like a bundle of mail, like a bin of mail, and just dumps it in the back of his SUV. And I've noticed this now on several occasions when I get in there and I see the mail and I'm like, that can't be right. And he never seems concerned about it. He's like, oh, I'll get through it. And I'm wondering if he does get through it or if he just doesn't take it all out and throw it away. I mean, I'll take a photo of it next time I see it because it is a shocking amount of mail that is just littered in the back of his car, all unopened, by the way, just sitting back there.
When's the last time you got something cool in the mail, like that you weren't expecting, and you open it and you're like, oh my god?
Occasionally, you get like one of those settlement checks off a class action suit that you're not aware of.
Yeah,
that
happens. But it's never.
It's like for $2.08 though. Usually.
Well, there was that one off of that I got one because they sent us. What was it? We got two checks.
It was the Conoco one.
I threw away one of them.
Me too.
Yeah,
I never got. I threw away both of them. I didn't see them because they try to disguise them so that you'll do exactly that.
Exactly that.
And I did. I never even knew they were coming, so I must have missed them.
Because I found the one, and I was like, oh, look at that. And then I was like, where? I never got the other one. I'm like, well, I probably threw it away.
And those were like $75 or something.
Like $75.
But I mean, seriously, like, I don't know. There's never anything worthy in the mail.
No,
I mean never.
No, you get Christmas cards and like graduation announcements, wedding announcements. Those come in the mail. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. I get
anything. Anybody?
Yeah,
Buckley, do you get anything in the mail that's cool?
You get like medical bills and stuff. I get some of those. Those
bills.
That's not cool, but I do have to answer those.
Yeah, but those I pay those in the online.
Well, I do pay them online, but I do get the bill.
Yeah, they'll send them to you, but you can throw them away.
My dentist sends me a bill, but I have to open it to see what the bill is and where to go and pay.
No, you don't. You just got to go online.
Anything surprising that comes in an envelope that's exciting. Like, anything surprising is bad. Oh, I got a ticket. Oh, I owe a bill. It's not, I got this cool thing that says someone owes me a crap ton of cash. Like, it's never that.
Do you ever get the ones, like, from the city, and you're like, oh, boy, what's this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say on the outside, and you're nervous. Mm-hmm. And then you open it up, and it's like, hey, we're doing a project in your area. Just want to let you know. I'm like, I don't care.
Those speed humps.
Yeah, occasionally I'll get a coupon. We do a free dump day in my neighborhood where you can take stuff to the high school and throw it away. I get a coupon for that.
Coupon?
You get a coupon to, like, you can go take one time. You can take anything you have to the high school once a year, and it's like a spring cleanup, and you can just throw it away for free.
Well, why do you need the coupon?
Because that way they know you live in the neighborhood. No. You have to prove that you're in the neighborhood.
They don't want just anyone coming dumping there.
You can't come over into my neck of the woods and just dump your trash. That's not the way this works, Rob.
I'll just make a fake coupon. How about that?
Good luck. Good luck getting it. And by the way,
coupon police?
You don't really need the coupon. The ladies just wave you.
Exactly.
I went back like 3 times this year. I was like, hey, what if she's like, I don't, just go. It was 2 old ladies. Bring a can of food for the food bank, and they let you blow right through.
Yeah, I think the one time, I got a big check in the mail that I'd forgotten about or that I wasn't expecting because it was like the title, the escrow account money.
Yeah.
It was thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Totally forgot about it, and it just showed up in the mail.
See?
And that happened one time. I'm 48 years old.
It happened, though.
Wait, 49.
49.
Once.
It happened. It happened.
And even if you don't get that, that goes to the unclaimed property thing, and you can eventually get that down the road.
I get a BYU magazine every so often, too, and I'm not sure why, but I get that. And it's, I'm guessing it's some sort of thing to get me to read and then feel guilty and give them money.
Yeah, they take care of their alums with that publication, and you take care of them with your money.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. You think eventually they would have figured out that, like, hey, it's been 20 years and this guy has never once written us a check.
They're relentless.
That's a spray and pray approach.
You would think that eventually, like, they would stop sending me the BYU magazine, but no, I get it religiously. My real estate lady sends me her monthly magazine, which is just her face on it, which... she's lovely, but I'm not sure why I get that. You're right in that there's really nothing valid about the mail, but I always do look through it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I still go out and get it.
Yeah, I can't just blindly. Everyone just sticks it on my desk, and after every couple days, I go through it. I do want to ask my buddy if he goes through it, because I don't think he does. I think when you reach that level, when you reach 200 pieces of mail and it's in the back of your car, how much of that you think gets read?
Well, he probably knows it's all business related, and he probably knows what is important and what isn't. And they're all bills, so he's putting them on. That's why he's put them in the back of the car, is that people want money, and he's like, I'll get to it later. I mean, if those were checks, they wouldn't be back there.
Yeah. I wonder if he's just like, I've often wondered that every time I see it. I'm like, how much are you missing anything important in there? It's such an alarming amount of mail. I've never seen it before.
All right. How much money
Celine
do you?
Dion.
Yeah. How much do you think she's making? She's one song at the Olympics.
To get her to come out with the nerve disease, dude, they're giving her at least $1 million.
Celine Dion will be making for one song at the Olympics.
I still contend that song is going to be "My Heart Will Go On."
$2 million. She can't afford not to.
No.
Even if she can't sing.
You can't claim like that.
No.
She'll lip sync it.
She's like, sure, I'll be there.
$2 million to sing one song?
Isn't that crazy?
Is that the most expensive song ever sung?
I mean, who would get more for one song?
And by the way, what a grift the Olympics are. That's just like, that's all money, by the way, that the people are paying for. The good people of Paris are paying $2 million for Celine Dion to sing one song.
They don't want the Olympics there. They started, like, pooping in the river to try to get people to not be able to swim in it for the Olympics.
I did think that was great. Yeah, the people of Paris started pooping in the Seine River.
On purpose to protest the Olympics.
And then, like, the mayor or whatever of London said that she was going to go swim in it to prove that it was safe.
And there's E. coli.
And so she announced the day that she was going to. So the day before, they did a big community organization. Everyone got together and went and pooped in
everyone started dumping.
the river right where she was going to swim. which, by the way, that's a protest I can get behind. I've got the poo in my hands. I've never protested. I've said that even if you had a protest in my backyard, there's a 50-50 chance of me showing up. But if the protest was like going over the Hawthorne Bridge and we're all taking a dump at noon, like on a Wednesday,
you're in?
You might get me on that one. For like a good cause to protest something, it's like, hey, we need every hole that we can manage. We all need to get out to the Hawthorne and let's take this dump together. You might get me on that one. That just kind of seems like a fun thing. Just hand in hand, the community getting together and taking a squatter in the Willamette to tell big government to can it.
What?
All right, we'll wrap it up next on The Fan. At
You
all
missed 'em.
Costcos?
I do not believe that they exist anymore. I got these about a month ago. You cannot get them on Costco.com. They're at least not at my local one in Beaverton. So probably not in. Where do you go, Tigard?
Buck and his wife cleaned out the Glacier.
I got
Performance
one.
store.
I went back for more. They didn't have any.
I may have to buy some Hang 10s.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Oh.
Ah.
Yeah, you could probably find some other sweet options there.
I did see you could purchase the brand on Temu, so you know it's good.
I don't use Temu. Do you
I
guys
never
use?
have, but I hear a lot of bad things.
No, I'm
Temu's awful, right?
No, yeah, that's it's like ordering something from Wish. Don't do it.
What's Wish?
Wish is like you don't really know what you're gonna get. It's like it's basically just knockoff products.
So Temu is overseas?
Yeah, Temu is a Chinese like Amazon sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what you're getting.
Is that just because we're in the U.S.? Because it seems to be everywhere. It's big.
Yeah, my son ordered a